Y'all know Uncle Mike trying to inhale some food. Why is this thing taking so long? Oh my goodness. Are we serious? God dang, man. Dude, I'm about to go upstairs and go to bed. Can y'all, I don't even know, can y'all hear me? Let's see if we got something going on over here. We're experiencing technical difficulties with YouTube. Or is it just this computer? The big DC. Sure can hear, sure can hear. Alright. I don't know what's going on with this computer, man. Let's exit Chrome for right now. We can exit this. Maybe it's too much stuff going on at one time. Close this down. Definitely close that down. I wanted to keep that. We can close this down. I wanted to keep that. Come on, baby. Don't do me like this. Oh, man. Is it YouTube? Must be a Firefox thing. Jesus. Are you serious? Well, take a couple more bites of my food. I'm hungry, overworked. Okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Now it's acting like it got some sense. Oh my goodness. All right, now it look like it's working. Yeah. All right. Oh. Got that. I can't believe this mess. Here we go, y'all. Here we go. Yeah. We loud. We back on OBX. Now let's see if we can pull up screen flow. So far we looking good. Monitor for that. Yeah. Up.
This was
Good gracious. This thing is loud.
highly intentional. Phone in its settings tells you how far it has to be off of your body to prevent cancer. It tells you if you go to your settings to general, you scroll all the way down to legal and regulatory. Who knew this was in the back?
What's up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Check this out, man. I like to start off with some things I find on the internet, on Facebook, basically, that you should know, man. Check this out right here. Let me see if it's gonna start right from the beginning. It always start, man. Facebook gotta get their thing together. It always start muted and you can't rewind. So here we go.
Chick-fil-A's designed for addiction. This was highly intentional.
Talking about the cell phone.
In its settings tells you how far it has to be off of your body to prevent cancer. It tells you if you go to your settings to general, you scroll all the way down to legal and regulatory. Who knew this was in the bowels? Do you see it?
I'm in it.
Legal and regulatory, click it. The very bottom one says RF exposure. That stands for radio frequency exposure.
Radio frequency.
And then it tells you, mine is on the second paragraph. This must be 5 millimeter separation off of your body. It's about a pencil eraser. So they're covered when you get brain cancer because you put your phone to your head.
I always speak on speakerphone.
You bet you do. Distance is your friend with radio frequency, with electromagnetic fields. But they just came out with a study. It just literally, the further this is away from you, the better. We're seeing a higher rate of testicular cancer on young men because they put their phone. Get your phone out of your pocket. Get it away from your testicles.
That's crazy.
Yes. So back when these were smaller and women put them in their breast, we saw breast cancers the shape of that lithium battery in there. This is radioactive. So you get it off your person. You speak on speakerphone with it, right? You don't put it up your head. You for sure don't have it on your head driving down a road in a metal tube where it's having to work super hard to find a cell signal. So it's putting out more electromagnetic fields. This is a big deal. This was designed. You think Chick-fil-A's designed?
Y'all hear that, man? I thought that was very interesting. I don't know how much truth it has, but I've been hearing a lot of people catching cancer and different things because of these cell phones, man. And they have to put more powerful batteries in them because they are smartphones now. You feel me? So I just thought I'd share that with y'all before we get into this. Diddy trial headed to mistrial after jury refused. What's up with jury 25, man? He is refusing to follow the jurors' instructions. Man, this ain't good. He might have got to somebody. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. We are live, and I see my buddy Jamie. Wait a minute. Hey Jamie, how you doing? Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy. Yeah.
Federal courtroom in New York. Okay, so things just exploded inside the federal courtroom in New York. It's day 32 of the U.S. versus Sean Diddy Combs, and right as the jury starts deliberating, boom, a note drops that flips everything. Apparently, one of the jurors, juror number 25, is refusing to follow the judge's instructions. Yes, seriously. This could completely derail one of the biggest trials we have seen in years. So what's going on behind closed doors? What does this mean for Diddy? And how bad is it really? Stick around, guys, because I have the entire breakdown. So
Okay.
it's June 30th. After nearly 2 months, guys, 2 months of court, 28 days of testimony, 34 witnesses, the jury's finally handed the case. Their job? Decide if Diddy's guilty of racketeering, sex trafficking, and moving people across state lines for prostitution. Huge stuff that could put him away for life in prison. So this morning, Judge 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞 spends more than 2 hours walking the jury through the legal instructions. Basically, it's a rule book on how to weigh all the evidence. But by 11:30 a.m., the 12 jurors, 8 men and 4 women, they headed into the deliberation room to, go over everything and decide the case. But then at 11:48, the first note comes in. Juror number 5 is named foreperson. He's a 31-year-old investment analyst from Connecticut. Pretty buttoned up guy, okay? Everyone thinks, cool, things are rolling along smoothly. But then it gets messy. At 1:25 p.m., barely an hour later, the foreperson sends another note. And this one's a bombshell. Quote, "We have a juror, number 25, who we are concerned cannot follow your honor's instructions." Yeah, that's not what you want to hear on day 1 of deliberations. Now the judge has to figure this out. Is the juror just confused or straight up refusing to play by the rules? So who is this guy? Juror number 25 is a 51-year-old scientist. He's got a PhD in molecular biology and neuroscience, loves opera and nature documentaries. Smart dude. But during jury selection, he admitted he'd already seen the 2016 hotel video. Yeah, the one with Diddy chasing Cassie down the hallway, kicking her, beating her, all of that. But he said that he could still be fair and that he could weigh both sides of the argument, that didn't really cloud his judgment in this whole case. But now his fellow jurors are flagging him as a problem. The note doesn't explain what he's doing, just that it's enough to raise concern. And that vagueness, it is setting off alarms all across social media, I'm sure all in that courtroom and everywhere you can think. Like, people are really trying to figure out, like, how did they get to that conclusion so fast? Is he being defiant? Is he being ornery? Like, for them to send a note to the judge this quickly, something is really, really wrong in that room. Now, after this, the courtroom goes into overdrive. Prosecutors want to follow up immediately. They suggest sending a detailed note asking whether juror 25 is just confused or actively ignoring the law. Their draft is long and loaded with legal jargon. But Diddy's lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo, he pushes back. He's like, hold up. It's way too soon to start dissecting the jury's process. That could mess everything up. Now, I'm not sure why he would do this, because it could be in his favor to call this out. So something is not really going on right to me. Again, this whole case, every time I think I know where things are headed, something new happens that completely throws me off. The defense wants to keep it simple. Basically, just tell them, hey, keep going. Like, literally, ignore the note, just keep going. And he's ignoring the jury instructions. But the judge steps in and says, enough, figure it out together. 10 minutes. That's what he gives them, 10 minutes to figure it out. So by 2 p.m., they land on a compromise. The judge sends a neutral message. I received your note. I remind every juror of their duty to deliberate and obligation to follow my instruction on the law. With that instruction in mind, please continue deliberating. So essentially, listen, tough it out, figure it out. I'm not dealing with this right now. There's no mention of juror number 25. No drama. Just a reminder and a warning. Don't send any more notes with inside details from that jury room. Just do your job. So why is this a big deal? Now, if this feels like a small hiccup, I want you to trust me when I say it's not. In a case this massive, all 12 jurors need to fully agree on every count. If even one person refuses to play ball, that's a hung jury. No verdict. Months of work and millions of dollars wasted. Victims will be re-traumatized. Diddy's fate is left dangling. And let's not forget the timing. It's June 30th. 4th of July is right around the corner. It's this weekend. 4-day weekend. The court is closed July 3rd and 4th. These jurors have already given up their summer, Memorial Day included. They're sitting in sweltering heat, and now they're staring down a long weekend. That pressure to wrap things up is very, very real. Analysts say holidays like this can push juries towards rushing towards a consensus just to get out of there because they don't want to do it anymore. But if one juror is digging in their heels, that gets a lot harder. And I would assume if it's this one juror frustrated them to the point that they had to send a note to the judge, things are getting
crazy.
ugly in that room.
Already.
And that juror must be holding out for something. We don't know what. So that begs the question, what's up with juror number 25? I mean, honestly, like I said, we don't know exactly. The note doesn't spell it out. Maybe he's just lost in the legal language. Racketeering, guys, it's a beast. It involves proving at least 2 criminal acts tied to an organized scheme. Maybe he's stuck on Cassie's video. He made it seem like, it made an impression on him. Maybe it's clouding his judgment. Or maybe he's just clashing with the rest of the jury. Things get heated during deliberations, especially with the kind of testimony we've heard from Cassie, Jane Doe, detailing alleged abuse, control, coercion. The prosecution paints Diddy as a criminal kingpin. The defense says it's all wild, but consensual. Juror 25 could be struggling to reconcile those two pictures. Now remember, this isn't the first juror drama. This trial's already had its share of juror issues. Earlier in June, juror number 6 was removed for lying about where he lived. He claimed that he lived in the Bronx, but he'd actually moved to New Jersey, making him ineligible. Diddy's team fought hard to keep him. He was one of only 2 black men on the panel, and they argued that his removal hurt the jury's diversity. But the judge said no, and they let a white alternate step in his place. That caused tension, and now with juror 25 under scrutiny, things are even more delicate. If he's removed, they'd have to bring back one of 5 alternates who were just dismissed this morning. It's a total logistical nightmare. It's a mess. The stakes couldn't be higher. And here's a quick refresher of the charges that Diddy is facing. Count 1, racketeering conspiracy. Prosecutors say he ran a criminal enterprise. If convicted, he will get life. Counts 2 and 3, sex trafficking. Did he coerce Cassie and Jane into sex acts? Each one also carries a life sentence. Counts 4 and 5, transporting for prostitution, basically arranging travel for sex. Each count can get up to 10 years. The defense is pushing hard to reframe it all as consensual, adult behavior. They're also pointing fingers at the accusers, especially Cassie, arguing she has financial motives since she filed a civil lawsuit too. But bottom line, juror number 25's vote matters, and it matters a lot. So what happens now? Well, the jury is still deliberating, and juror 25 is still in the room. The judge's note was a gentle nudge, I will say. But if things don't smooth out, we might see the judge interview juror 25 one-on-one. If it turns out that he isn't willing or able to follow the law, he could get booted. If not, the jury stays deadlocked. We could be headed for a mistrial. And if they do reach a verdict, you better believe the world is going to be watching. Either way, there's going to be eruption everywhere, especially on social media. Guys, this trial's been wild. And the latest juror drama just adds another twist. But what do you think is going to happen with juror 25? Will they be deadlocked? Is he stuck on that Cassie video, just not vibing with the legal instructions? Or maybe he's just standing up for something that the others aren't seeing? Drop your thoughts. Let me know your comments because I want to hear what you think. What is going on? This case is wild. But also, guys, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button and the notification bell because as soon as we get more information, I will be breaking it down and letting you know exactly. In today's video.
Oops. Yeah, she's going to be breaking it down. I didn't mean to click on it, but I don't know. This is 2 days ago. All right, let's check this one out.
We're pulling back the curtain on the one place cameras can't go, the deliberation room. Because what if Diddy's flashy lawyer, his silence on the stand, and his modern love story defense aren't just risky, but actually offensive? We're breaking down how jurors might be reacting right now and why some of his boldest moves could blow up in his face. Let's start with the most stunning choice of the entire trial. Diddy's team calling 0 witnesses, not a friend, not a colleague, not even a bodyguard or ex-girlfriend to say, he's a good man. Think about that. The government spent 6 weeks laying out damning testimony. Cassie, former employees, alleged victims, all telling the same disturbing story. And how does Diddy respond? Not with evidence, not with alibis, but with silence. Now his lawyer wants the jury to see this as strength. We didn't need witnesses because the government failed to prove their case. That's what they're implying. But to jurors, especially middle-aged moms and older women, this might read very differently. It might scream cowardice, like Diddy knew that if anyone took the stand, it would unravel. Let's talk about what might be the most tone-deaf moment of this entire circus.
You got to remember, if somebody take the stand, they can do cross-examination and ask them, and you can't lie on the oath. Think about that. That's why
During
nobody took the
closing
stand.
arguments, Diddy's lawyers called the relationship with Cassie Ventura a modern love story. Yes. A modern love story, y'all. After prosecutors detailed years of grooming, emotional manipulation, forced drug use, and a brutal 2016 hotel incident, his lawyer said this is just a complicated romance. That's not just offensive, it's dangerous because jurors aren't just hearing legal jargon. They're feeling things. They're putting themselves in the victim's shoes. And for any juror who's survived abuse or who knows someone who has, this could be the moment where they snap inside and say, nope, I'm done, guilty. And to think a modern love story, when we're talking about freak-offs weekly, that lasts for days, where she's getting peed in the mouth, where she has mouth sores, can't swallow, vaginal infections that are so bad and so prolonged that antibiotics don't work on them anymore. Then he's beating her every other day. Like, really, what was modern about this? It's deranged. And let's not forget how the defense mocked the government's case, even making jokes in the courtroom. They called the charges a fantasy and ridiculed accusers, and then implied that Diddy was just a misunderstood rock star living a wild, consensual swinger lifestyle. But here's what the attitude misses. Juries don't like arrogance. If you act smug, if you minimize trauma, if you sneer while describing a woman crying in a hotel room after you beat her, jurors remember that, especially the quiet ones in the back who haven't said much during voir dire. They're watching you and they're asking, if this guy is innocent, why is his lawyer treating this like a stand-up routine? Why didn't they put up a defense? It's not just about the evidence. It's about tone, about the defense's tone. They might have just sealed their client's fate by doing all of this. One of the quietest but loudest signals to the jury was what the defense didn't address. They never seriously rebutted the hotel incident with Cassie. They barely touched the allegations about Kid Cudi's car being blown up. They offered no real alternative explanations for key events. And while the prosecution, amended some of the jury instructions for some of the charges like the arson and kidnapping, the stories behind those things, those charges, still are glaring. You know what this smells like to jurors? He did it. They just couldn't prove it all. It's a psychological trap. Even when the charges or part of it is gone, the narrative remains. And when the defense doesn't even fight back, the jurors are seeing that and they're most likely going to believe it's true. Now let's talk about what just hit outside the courtroom, because this could influence the jury whether the judge likes it or not. Just as the criminal trial was reaching its final stage, a new civil lawsuit dropped like a nuclear bomb. It accuses both Diddy and his son Justin of participating in a mass gang rape, I'll call it, in Los Angeles in 2017. Graphic, chilling, similar in pattern to previous claims. Now, technically, jurors aren't supposed to consider outside allegations, but in the real world, they hear things. Bailiffs talk, headlines leak into conversations. Jurors go home, turn on the TV. They try not to look, but they see it everywhere. This adds a sense of ongoing threat. It's no longer just a case about the past. It's about what Diddy might still be doing and continuing to do in the future. Does anyone think Diddy is changing? They heard testimony, guys. Remember, when Diddy was arrested in that hotel room in New York City, what was testified to by the HSI agent? They found him in a hotel room with freak-off paraphernalia, baby oil, lots of baby oil, bags of it, Astroglide lubricant, drugs. He was literally either he just had a freak off or was preparing for a freak off right when he was arrested. So even though he was under indictment investigation, even though Cassie's lawsuit came out, all of this is going on. The video of him beating Cassie, and he is still still up to the moment of his arrest doing these freak offs. Like something is wrong with this dude. And another underrated element, how Diddy looks in court. He's calm, too calm, relaxed, almost defiant, smiling, nodding to the jury, nodding to the witnesses. Now, those optics do not look good. They don't make you look innocent. And the jury is not going to like that. Think about it. The jurors who saw Cassie and other women crying on the stand, it might look like that he just doesn't care. Like he thinks he's above the law. Like he's got friends in high places and he knows he's protected. And you better believe that jurors will notice the contrast, the victim sobbing, and then Diddy, the defendant, smirking, nodding, laughing. That is not a good look at all.
Not at all.
Now let's break this down demographically. If the jury includes older women, they're more likely to empathize with Cassie and other accusers, especially Cassie's mother, who it is alleged that Diddy blackmailed, that if he didn't have her parents pay $20,000 to him, that he was going to leak her freak off tapes. A lot of people are forgetting that. Like the horror that would be for a parent. And any older person, especially older woman, is going to be appalled. Her mother testified about how they had to take a second mortgage on their home just to get $20,000 to pay off this man who was abusing their daughter, sexually exploiting her and holding this blackmail over her head. Is no one understanding how bad that actually looks? What reason would Cassie's mother have to lie? The evidence was provided. She had to mortgage her home in order to do this. Text messages, emails show that he was extorting them for this. It's beyond deranged. Now, there could be young men on the jury. Maybe they're more open to this lifestyle defense, but not if it seems predatory. Yes, they may be more empathetic towards Diddy, thinking that, these hoes ain't loyal, the women lie, they're just trying to get a check, they're trying to get cash. But that only holds up under so much. At some point, even if you are wanting to believe the man, believing that women are scamming and lying, when you see this evidence, when you hear the graphic details, when you see all of these different people who are employees, men and women, claiming what Diddy has done, a lot of those young men are not going to just let that go easily. And like I told you, some of those jurors are parents. They're watching how Diddy and his family and what happened. They're realizing Cassie was fresh out of high school when this man groomed her, got her hooked on drugs, had her doing these freak offs, things Cassie had never done before. People testified this was not Cassie, that she became this person with Diddy. And he continues to be that person to this day. While he talked about doing rehab, they found drugs in his hotel room while he was preparing or just finished doing a freak off during his arrest. So all this rehab talk and all of, it was passion in a swinger lifestyle is ridiculous. And if you think about your daughter being Cassie, and again, playing on the mother who came in there to testify, this is not looking good. And I know a lot of jurors are questioning him or giving him the side eye because it's pretty gross. The final verdict may come down to who dominates that room. If 2 or 3 jurors feel strongly that this was abuse, those emotions can shift the entire dynamic, especially over multiple days of deliberation. The verdict could still go either way, but here's what no one is saying. Everyone is talking about the charges. Everyone is talking about the lawyers. But what no one is talking about, guys, is how emotionally drained this jury must be. I'm emotionally drained. And how that fatigue could play into Diddy's hands, or it could break him completely. If they're exhausted, confused, and overwhelmed, they might just cave to pressure and go for, some type of compromising verdict, some type of compromise. Something like, he's guilty on one count, but not guilty on others. But if there's just 1 or 2 jurors that are fiery and convinced and disgusted by what they saw, it could swing toward full conviction. He can get guilty on all charges, because here's the truth. This isn't just a trial about a man, okay? We know that. It's a referendum on celebrity power, sexual violence, and whether the justice system still works. The jury isn't just deciding Diddy's fate. They're sending a message to every victim, every celebrity abuser, every enabler in Hollywood who thought the rules didn't apply to them. So what will they say? And more importantly, I think this is the thing we need to think about. What will you believe when the verdict drops? Because whether Diddy gets convicted on one charge, two charges, or the whole thing, or he goes completely free, I think the court of public opinion really matters the most, because I think Diddy's finished either way, living some public
Definitely
life.
finished.
The lawsuits alone are going to bankrupt him. I mean, he's cooked. No one's going to do business with him anymore. It's too risky. Right now, he can slide in and be a silent partner in different things, but the truth will come out. But what really matters is what we think. What do you say? Leave a comment below. Where are you feeling the jury's going to lean? Now, of course, it's probably where you are leaning. But if you just take a lens and just think, if you were in that room, the things you saw, you don't know all the things going on outside the courtroom. You may have heard of some things here and there, or maybe you didn't. But you're just focusing on this case, what happened in that courtroom. What would you decide? Let me know, guys. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys very shortly.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I really don't think that somebody can actually 100% find him not guilty on everything. If they sat in that courtroom, we getting bits and pieces of the stuff. If they sat in that courtroom, there's no way. That's how I feel. Just telling you how Uncle Mike feel. Now, I couldn't be part of the jury because I seen the Cassie tape. So I don't care what they said. I don't care what the lawyers do. Diddy guilty. I seen it. I seen the tape. You guilty. So whatever Cassie said you did, you done. So you finished. And the other girl. So that's one count. You're already going to jail. You need to serve some time for beating that girl up like that. And then trying to get the tapes back so nobody will see it. Covering up what you did. You need to do some time for that. That's beyond a reasonable doubt right there. So after that, now all the other stuff and using the bathroom in her mouth and did she want it, or she laid on the floor and took the urine in the throat. So I mean, that's all 50-50. She could have been down with it at that time and not down with it another time, whatever. But you don't put your hands on nobody, period, man or female. Now you got another court case coming. You got somebody in jail been fighting. This man done dropped over 200 different pages of paperwork, 200 different times to try to get out because he know he innocent. You got people coming out. Oh, man, it's just so much, man. It's so much. So we're going to wait and see. Then he ain't got a nerve to not even bring nobody up. He brought not near person up because of cross-examination. Because whoever you bring up, they going to be asked questions from both sides, cousin. Anyway, man, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. We're live while we doing our reactions today. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Let me know what y'all think. Hey, shout out to all my enders. Take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. What was the first one? I think the first one was better.
Okay. So things just exploded.
Yeah. What up, gal? Got my boo. Y'all see my boo-boo on the phone? Y'all can barely see her. I'm live. You want to see the live there and say hi to everybody? Oh, my goodness, man. Mm-hmm. All right, what else I was going to do? I'm tired of doing Tisha Tales, but she dropped the bomb diggities, baby. This guy, oh my Lord.
If I figured it out.
She gonna talk more about Juror 25, I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to get some information on Juror 25. Yeah. We trying to get some information on Juror 25. So we're going to go with the Tisha Tales. What is going on with my computers today, man? Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. This is a long one right here. Y'all check. Thumbs up. Give a thumbs up. Let's check this bad boy.
The jury has signaled that Diddy is probably guilty of the predicate with the RICO. Okay, now we go. I am repeating. The jury has signaled that Diddy is probably guilty of the RICO charge with Diddy. You guys, what am I talking about? All right, first of all, I'm gonna have to take y'all on this magic journey because my microphone's not working, but who cares? You guys, I was in court today. Okay, I'm back. You guys, I was in court today, okay? I stayed for the whole day. I know what it was saying. Nothing was gonna happen in the courtroom. It was a waste of time, but everybody was wrong because it was not a waste of time because the jury has signaled that Diddy is probably gonna be found guilty on the distribution charge, the rug charges. I know it's a lot, but it's good. And let me tell you what happened, okay, right? So we're sitting around, and all of a sudden, Mark Agnifilio comes rushing into the courtroom. Look. I'm always getting my shoes off. He comes rushing into the courtroom, okay? He has a look of concern. Now, Mark always looks like he's like a little bit flabbergasted when he comes walking in, so I didn't think it was that big a deal, but I was still being nosy, okay? Now, mind you, we've been sitting in the courtroom with nothing. That note didn't come back for the juror, so I guess Juror 25 figured it out. Spoiler alert, I also found out that the four-person juror number 5 is not who people think it is. It is not, in fact, even a woman. Juror number 5 is the number they have is the number they had during the voir dire, not their numbers of their seating chart, okay? Juror number 5 is not a woman at all. He is actually a man. But I guess you found that out by he. But who cares about that? Because let me get in, hold on, y'all. Where's my, okay. Who cares about that? Because we need to talk about the way they already got Diddy on one of the RICO charges and the defense was melting down. Okay, right? So Mark comes rushing into the courtroom, okay? Then they got Driscoll. Driscoll is this lawyer where his mind, he knows he knows all the law like canon, okay? Every time he opens his mouth, I'm like, oh my God, because he's going to be right. He's so annoying because he knows all the details, and guess what? He's always right, okay? Driscoll comes in, but Driscoll looks worried. Xavier comes in. All of the lawyers are like looking around, okay? They're all huddling. They're all looking through stuff, blah, 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 blah. Diddy comes out the back, okay? And there was one time where he got bought out the back and all you heard was like a toilet flushing, and then he came out like wiping his hands. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't want to know. Oddly enough, this is after he watched the freak-off tape. I noticed that every time Diddy watches freak-off tapes, this is in the past, his trips to the bathroom kept increasing. It was odd, but it doesn't matter, okay? So, Diddy...
Don't say that. Don't say it. That means he got a serious problem. He see the freak off tapes. I gotta go to the bathroom. Okay, I'm back. He come back.
Diddy comes and he sits down, right? And then they bring the note that the jury wrote, and it's written on a piece of paper. Nobody knows what's on the note, okay? So they're passing the note around. When Diddy's team saw the note, it was just like, I felt like it was that Nicki Minaj video. It was like, they were just going like crazy. They were in powwows. It went from, they were in straight up powwows. First of all, it was Esteban, Mark Agnifilio, Xavier, and Brian. They were huddled. Then Westmoreland, Diddy, and Shapiro were over Diddy, right? They were over Diddy, talking to him. Diddy was sitting there barking orders at everybody. Then it was Westmoreland and Brian were talking, okay? Mark came over and was talking to Diddy. Brian still, oddly enough, was like, I'm spinning like a ballerina. He was not bothered at all. He was not, hold on. He was not bothered at all. 1 second.
Take your time. Take your time.
Brian still wasn't bothered at all. He was just sipping from his pink water bottle. Probably his wife, girlfriend, daughter, granddaughter, favorite niece gave it to him. It looks like it had sentimental value. He was just sipping from his pink water bottle, just like, I'm spinning like a ballerina, okay? Then Driscoll, Xavier, and Shapiro all got together and they were scrolling on the laptop. All of a sudden, everybody was looking on their phones. Everybody was looking at the laptops. Everybody was like streamlining in, going in and out. They looked like they were all looking for an extra, like they looked like they were all looking for the answer, the Holy Grail. Now, I knew at this point, especially if Driscoll's out there on the ones and twos, you guys are literally looking for case law. You're looking for case law for something to support. Still didn't know what they were going. However, on the defense side, it was like, see ya. It was on the defense side. It was like, right? Mind you, you go over and look at the prosecution's table. This one I knew they had Diddy. You looked at the prosecution's table, and it really was, listen, Comey was like, They were all chilling. They were all chillax. They were all just sitting there, literally. I'm spinning like my ballerina. Diddy was barking something at them like, Now, mind you, when I say barking, he's not yelling. However, you see from his body language, he's like, right, literally looking at screens. They're all looking worried. They don't know what to do. They're doing this, they're doing that. And I was like, what is going on? It was tea. It was high drama. I said, oh my God, I'm so glad I stayed because I was going to come downstairs and film some voiceovers, but I'm glad I did the right thing and actually stayed. See, hard work always pays off. Now get this, right? Now here's what happened. After a while, and when I say a while, all this happened over like 15 minutes. Diddy was just sitting there, straight, looking pissed, pissed. That type of piss when you are so mad, because I get that like that sometimes. When I'm so mad, I know that if I say something, I'm gonna act a fool. Literally flip over the Monopoly board. You know how there's nothing you can do except for look straight and ignore anyone, because if you engage, you are gonna lose your shit. Yeah, well then we found out what was going on. You guys, they got Diddy on those they have Diddy on the drug distribution charge. They have him on the drug distribution charge, and it is a RICO. Listen to this. So Judge Aaron came out, all rise, you know, I got up, popped up, right? I got my little Hillary Banks outfit on, right? So I popped up, and I'm like, okay, like, you know, we all have to stand for the judge. And he said the jury sent out 2 letters, okay? And he read the letter, okay? He says this deals with page 37 of the jury instructions. As a matter of fact, let me pull these up because I have the jury instructions. Hold on really quick. I just have to make a quick phone call. Give me 1 second, okay?
1 second.
Sorry, guys. 1 second.
They
1
say
second.
They having
Oh, you
problems.
guys like the outfit? Yes. I'm spinning like... Here we go. This is the outfit. Of course, nobody is answering my phone. On. Hold on, page 14. I'm on my phone. Page 41, 36.
I should play my song right now.
This
Y'all
is
want to hear my
37?
song? Oh my gracious. We live while we doing this, y'all, so.
3. A criminal violation is.
Here we go.
It says, in addition to alleging the violation of the substances offenses of transportation to engage in No. The next category of criminal violation is, hey, what's up, guys? You too. The next category of criminal violation is possession with intent to distribute or distribution of narcotics and controlled substances, including coca, oxidin, asmarabil, meth, gamma, I don't know. Basically, Diddy had a whole pharmacy. He was Breaking Bad, right? There was there's like 8 things.
Breaking Bad.
The elements of distribution to possess with the intent to distribute a controlled substance are, here we go. This is on page 37. The word distribution means actual, constructive, or attempted transfer. To distribute simply means to deliver or pass to, or to hand over something to another person, or to cause it to be delivered, passed on, or handed over to another. Distribution does not require a sale. That's what it says.
That's what I was waiting on. I was waiting on the selling of it. You know, now you're talking about money being exchanged, but
person or the cause to be delivered, passed on, or handed over to another. Distribution does not require a sale. That's what it said. So the juror sent out a note to the judge and the defense and prosecution. And here's what they said, and this is how you know. They said, if the person wants or asks for the drugs and another person, hey, how are you? And another person gives it to them, is it still distribution? Now listen, I've watched Narcos. I've watched Breaking Bad. I've watched The Wire, right? I would say all seasons, but no, that would be a lie. I have not, right? But I've watched The Wire. My dad and brothers were watching it. And I already knew the answer to that is yes, right? Yes, I literally put my notes, yes, lol, it's still distribution. And then also the jury said, listen, we're ending at 5. You guys, they have Diddy on the distribution charges, which is one of the RICO. They only need another act for him to be guilty of bribery, arson, sex trafficking, the prostitution, and they have him on the RICO, y'all. And that's before you even get into the prostitution across state lines. There was sex trafficking with moving prostitutes across state lines. How do you know that? Because they were asking that, well, what if the person wanted to get the drugs? Is that still distribution? Yes, it is. So the fact that it's yes lets me know that
Diddy going to jail, man. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, if what she's saying, I kept looking for the other, because that across state line, that's a wrap. That part is a wrap.
That they have them. You guys, we got the first win. It looks like the jury has just signaled that Diddy is about to be found guilty of drug distribution under the law. Now, when you copy that into Juror 25, remember they said that Juror 25 was disregarding the judge's instructions. Why? Because he was going off of, well, I don't know what he was doing, but it looked like when you defy the judge's order says to put aside your personal feelings and go, is it about the star? They said put aside your personal feelings and go by the letter of the law. It does not matter whether you think something is criminal or not. Look to the jury instructions, and the jury instructions will tell you if this behavior is criminal. So what do we have? We have somebody that gave drugs to people. They're asking, well, what if the person asks for it? Is that still guilty for distribution under RICO? Okay, and he did this multiple times. Spoiler alert for everybody saying, I don't see the crime. If you are giving drugs to people, whether you're friends or not, you need to stop, because it's 100% illegal. And if the feds find out, you might be facing a RICO too. Don't say I didn't give you any favors or tell you anything. But when you combine that with this juror being like, well, I don't really feel like this is really I don't know what the juror was saying, but if you combine it with Juror 25, them saying they refuse to follow the letter of the law, and then next thing you do is get a letter, a note to the judge saying, well, what if they ask for it? Is that still distribution? Yes. So here's the funny thing, right? So then, right? So they were like, okay, so what the judge is they send answers back to the jury. They said they give the answer tomorrow, but today by 6 p.m., which is in a few minutes, the defense has to give what they want those instructions to say, or answer to the question. Why? Because this could make or break. Now listen, the whole time the prosecution is like, sex to be you, and they were literally just so like, I'm spinning like a ballerina. Why Diddy's energy is like all over the place, right?
Diddy, let me stop for a second. Y'all know Diddy was actually getting prescription drugs from a lot of places under other people's names. Roger Bonds has said that. He picked up different things. So once he got the drugs in his hand, he was giving them to people. They took him a nap. He was giving. That's distribution, man.
And they were literally just so like, I'm spinning like a ballerina. Why Diddy's energy is like all over the place, right? So I was just like, oh my God, they got him. So then the defense was like, well, Your Honor, we'd like more time to think about what we want the answer to be. And he was like, all right, like, cool. Like, can you get it by 6? And they're like, yeah, Your Honor, I guess I'll do that. So then the prosecution, you know, Maureen Comey stood up and she did the Comey lean. And you know, every time she hits that mic and leans over to her left, you know she's in her bag. Maureen stood up and she did the Comey lean. And she was like, Your Honor, I understand what you're doing with the jury instruction, but we would suggest that what would be the most helpful and accurate thing to do. Because the judge was like, listen, I think I'm going to direct them back to page 37, lines 1 through 3. And that's what I just read you. Let me read it again in case you guys didn't see the semblance. I'll go through it really quick. The judge said, listen, I'm going to literally send you back. I'm going to redirect them to go read over page 37, lines 1 through 3. What does that mean? Line 1, the word distribution means actual, constructive, or attempted transfer. To distribute simply means to deliver, to pass over, or to hand over something to another person, or to cause it to be delivered, passed on, or handed over to another. Distribution does not require sale. Now, Diddy distributed drugs to all his girlfriends and probably the sex workers. His employees distributed the drugs to him. And the drug dealers distributed the drugs to, well, actually sold the drugs, but it's another form of distribution to Diddy's team. Diddy's team distributed it to Diddy. Diddy distributed it to his quote-unquote girlfriends or sex trafficking victims and maybe the sex workers. I don't know if the sex workers partook, but it doesn't matter. He probably tried to get them. They said, Your Honor, yes, we do think that they should be referred to back to page 37, lines to 3. This is what I just read you guys. But Maureen Comey was like, but I feel like by them asking that question, that they are confused. And they are confused about the law. So I think what would be most helpful and most accurate is when you send that jury instruction back to their question, if a person wants or asks for rugs and another person gives it to them, is it still distribution? She said, I think what would be most helpful and most accurate is before you refer them to page 37, answer the question and say, yes, it is. And please refer to page 37, lines 1 through 3 for the law. Y'all, when I say Diddy was sitting there looking stuck, his team looked like a bomb had just been dropped on him. And on top of that, okay? And on top of that, with the most helpful and the most direct, it looked like a bomb had just been dropped on him, okay? You have all that stuff. You have the thing. You're doing the jury charges. And on top of that, with the 2 letters, okay, that they did combined with 25 saying that they don't really think, like, you know, they won't apply the law. And now they're asking for the judge to clarify what the law is. And Maureen Comey is saying the law is yes. For all these people on the Diddy side, for all these people saying, I don't see it. It's not, the charges seem weak. Can I say something? If the charge is whether, oh my God, Francine Lavea, thank you so much. 15 for lunch. We're good? 5 minutes? Oh, no problem. Here, I'll move over now. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna move I'll move over here into this corner. Hold on, I just have to move into the corner. Okay, so.
She's always so happy, man. It's like.
Oh, okay. So I'm being moved because, you know, I'm like the last person at the courthouse because I have to give it to y'all raw. So hold on, y'all. So this side or inside or doesn't matter?
And the police are
outside?
cool. The police out there is pretty cool, man. They laid back. They not.
Okay, I'm good here.
Unless
okay,
you
guys.
start and stuff.
So they're moving the
then they
barricade.
start
They're basically telling me you don't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
So, right? So the kids are not in the court today. Okay.
None of the kids,
So
okay.
let me just say this, right? Hey. So listen, here's what we got to do, okay? And y'all need to listen to this. And this is very, very important, all right? This is a happy day for all. Hey, what's up? Hi. Okay, for all the people saying that the evidence seems light. You don't need heavy light. You don't need to be Narcos season 1 through 10. All you need to do is break the law. Again, people are saying, oh, who cares that he passes it? Are we in La La Land? I know it's a lifestyle, but it's an illegal lifestyle. If you give drugs to someone, it is an illegal lifestyle.
Amen.
Point blank. You have broken the law. You guys, the prosecution was chilling. They were beyond happy. They were literally sitting there. And Maureen Comey could have been like, she would have been. When I say they were so smug, as they should, and Diddy's team looked like everything and their whole world had just fallen apart. And they were still looking for case law, looking for something, zooming in, trying to see if they could find a legal out. But at the end of the day, the law is the law is the law. And it doesn't matter how many people don't think that the law is heavy enough. It doesn't matter how much they don't think it was real RICO, real etc. That's why you're not a federal judge, and that's why you're never going to be a federal prosecutor, because y'all don't even know half the stuff that you guys are putting up is illegal. Now listen, right? Here's the funny thing. Hey, Brian.
I'll tell you later. Okay.
Okay. Hey.
Here. Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Andrews from TMZ, popping in on the fabulous 𝗕𝗓𝗡 tells telecast here outside the New York courthouse. She's wonderful. She's amazing, and she makes covering this case fun. So,
oh, thank you,
I'll
Brian.
talk to you later. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Listen, that is TMZ. Every time I see TMZ, Brian is one of the biggest producers on TMZ. Every time I see him come up, I'm like, what's the tea? What's scoop? Usually he saves the exclusive for TMZ, but we're all in the courtyard. This is our little court family, okay? I did not leave my purse. Don't worry, y'all. I had somebody get it. I didn't leave my purse. Don't worry. I didn't leave my purse. Juror 25 is still in this. Okay, but let's go into what this actually means for Diddy, okay? First of all, it means he is cooked. They got this. They got him. And judging by their faces, they know that they actually got him. Now, when you look into the other stuff about Juror 25, that he could not follow, well, the other jury members said that he couldn't follow the judge's instructions, right? They asked for more info on the nature of the issue. Clearly, it got resolved. But again, the fact that the question came out that if they asked for it, is it really distribution? And the prosecution said the answer is yes. It is 100% distribution. They got him.
Yes.
You listen, the government did not put anything in the record. They don't have any info about what's happening with the jury's deliberations. However, we have to start making inferences. We have to look at what the jury signals. And what the jury signaled is, at least on one predicate act, when it comes to RICO, it looks like Diddy, the jury has found that Diddy did in fact commit distribution. Oh, happy day, oh, happy. So we got one. You only need 2 predicate acts for RICO. What should be the second predicate act? You want bribery? You want kidnapping? You want moving prostitutes across state lines for the intent of sex trafficking? What do you want for the RICO act?
I forgot all about the kidnapping, because they got some real good proof. He didn't kidnap and keep her for a long period of time, but he did hold her against her will. Yeah.
Act. You want obstruction of justice? Tell me what you want, because listen, the prosecution, Maureen Comey and them was like literally 100,000, lining up the $100 bills. Like, what you want? 100,000 bills. What do you want, y'all? This is very bad for Diddy. And it lets me know that Mark Agnifilo and his twisting and pirouetting and his comedy show, to quote Bernard from Burden of Proof, like she said, Bernarda from Burden of Proof, the comedy show that Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, actually performed was not effective, because at the end of the day, you can do all the lights, cameras, action, you can do the and scene, you can do all that, but at the end of the day, the law is the law is the law. And that jury verdict street, they are taking all the actions he's been accused of, and they are applying it, and they are actually making law. It is what it is. You guys, go on don't go harass anyone. But this is a great, listen, I have a feeling that a lot of these stupid Diddy supporting pages, and when I call them stupid, I'm not calling them stupid for supporting Diddy. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I call them stupid because as much as they say, You were supporting feelings. You are supporting vibes, but you're not actually supporting the facts. Keep your opinion. Think whatever you want, but back it up with facts. Don't sit there and say everybody's delusional. I think, oh, I don't see. But you refuse to bring in one fact. You refuse to bring in one piece of evidence. You refuse to do anything. You're just going off of what you feel, what you know, what you hope, what you pray for what you wish. Baby, the best and easiest thing to do is to know reality. And my dad always told me that. That's the easiest way to to get ahead in life. Recognize reality, not what you hope it to be, not what you wish it to be, not what you think it should be, not anything except for what it is. That does not mean that reality cannot change.
Take yourself out the
If
equation.
you want to make a change in your life and you want to actually do something, you must acknowledge where reality is so you can start to make it work in your favor. These Diddy supporters and even Diddy's team, I mean, I understand why they did it. By keeping him in La La Land, they probably got 20, 30 million from him. But my whole point is by keeping Diddy in La La Land, they again, did they not get 20? Did they not get 30? Did they not get how many million from him? But my whole issue is with that, right? My whole issue is with that. Diddy's supporters don't acknowledge reality. I don't care if you don't think it's not bribery. It is under law. I don't care if you don't think that passing out a bunch of Molly to your friends, your freaks, whatever you want to call them, right? That's not illegal. It's 100% illegal. Oh, by the way, really quick, did y'all hear that story? I talked about it in last live, but I want to talk about it here. You know, after 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗏 was telling everybody that Diddy was a swinger's lifestyle, the National Swinger Associations, all 4 of them in America, have come out and said that Diddy's lifestyle was an abomination and he was not in a swinger's lifestyle, and how dare they associate him with a swinging lifestyle?
Oh my God.
Maybe you can make this up. Hold on. I have to read this one more time. I'll make a standalone video about it too.
That's
but I really
crazy.
have to get into hold on.
Damn.
I really have to get into
Damn, Diddy. Even the real swingers don't. Nah, dog, that ain't what we do. Everything we do, everybody agrees. We don't take nobody's cell phone. God damn. They ain't gotta sign no NDA or elemental P or QRS. They ain't gotta sign no 3-letter alphabets. Damn, they don't even want you. That's just like when the dude told me it's baby oil in Costco. Costco, look here, we don't even sell baby oil. These people are listening. They are listening and they are letting y'all know we ain't down with you, cousin.
the swinging lifestyle. This was very funny. Just let me cook with this, okay? Where are we at for the swinging lifestyle?
About?
Hold on, y'all.
What are you talking about?
I have it right here. No, that's not it. Hold on. That's not it. Where is it at?
I don't know what the heck about to happen,
Where
man.
are we at? Hold on.
So if he found guilty,
Hold
they
on.
going.
So there was here we go.
They going to appeal. They got that
swinging,
part.
I didn't even know that there are official swinging national organizations, but it was good, right? Listen, here it is. The rapper's legal team first offered a window into his defense during a court hearing on April 25th, arguing that Combs isn't guilty of federal sex crime because in his mind, he's engaging in sexual swinging. But Combs' alleged actions had nothing to do with the swinger lifestyle, said Brett Chamberlain, executive director of Open, a nonprofit working to expand acceptance for families and non-monogamous relationships. Using misogyny and swinging as a legal defense to explain away alleged harmful behavior mischaracterizes what these relationship structures are about and potentially harms our community by reinforcing harmful stereotypes. Oh, baby, it is not over. Listen, they said at the center of this lifestyle, at the center of the swinging lifestyle is informed, revocable consent, said Susan Wright, a spokesperson for the National Coalition of Sexual Freedom and Advocacy Organization for Consensual Non-Monogamy Communities. This requires lengthy conversations to set safe boundaries and ensure all parties enthusiastically agree. They went on to say, non-monogamous people joke that they spend more time talking about having sex than having it. These relationships prioritize communication, mutual agreement, and respect for everyone involved.
That's
They
what
said
I'm
the
talking
conversations
about,
happen
respect.
often before and throughout activities, Chamberlain said. Non-monogamous advocacy organizations like Open educate communities on what consent should look like. Freely given, without pressure or coercion, revocable at any point in time, informed about STDs and substances, and enthusiastic and specific. They said the key distinction of ethical non-monogamy is that these conversations happen proactively and deliberately rather than assuming everyone shares the same expectation. Anything other than that is a heck yes or no. Now, Kylie George, 34, was infuriated. Kylie George, 34 years old, was infuriated to learn that Diddy's defense team claims, anyway, it doesn't matter. The whole point of the matter is, right? And this is what we have to see. The whole point of the matter is that Diddy tried to say that abusing women, raping women, forcing rugs on women, beating women. Diddy's team from Diddy tried to actually bring in the swinging. Who would have thought we'd be defending the swinging lifestyle? Would be no offense if you're into that. I just know that I will not be interviewing my replacement. I will not be helping my current man interview my replacement, right? But the whole point of the matter is, right? Hold on really quick, y'all. Hold on.
Oh my God, this is juicy.
The whole point of the matter is, right? The whole point of the matter is that we had to literally, hold on really quick, y'all.
You mean to tell me who would have ever thought that we would be actually defending the swinger lifestyle? They was like, now hold up, god dang it. Now, Diddy ain't like us. We over here, we doing our thing. Diddy doing something completely different. That ain't no swinger. That's he abusing people and going way overboard. All right, Tisha, take it from here. I'm running out of words, girl. Y'all doing all right? This a juice. That's juicy. Tisa.
Okay, can you guys hear me now? Wait, hold on.
Tisa.
Hold on, my guy. I have an idea.
Tails, how about that?
Okay, can you hear me better now? Can you guys hear me better now? Oh, you can hear me better now? Okay, great. Okay, all right. Wait, can you hear me? Put a 1 if you can hear me better, and put a 2 if you can hear me the same. Okay, so here's the thing, right? At the end, okay, you guys can hear me better. Okay, perfect. Okay, right? Okay, so the whole point of the matter is, and this is my whole point, Diddy's team tried to pass off his depravity as swinging, as if people that swing have nothing better to do than engage in slavery, and that is not what happened at all. So where are we all with what happens with, right? Where are we at what happened with Diddy? Okay, hold on, move over here. There is so much like commotion in this courtyard. There's like a million people talking. There's a million people this. Somebody started speaking Spanish. It was just like too much. And you know me, I'm just, I can deal with a lot. And I was like, whatever. Oh, do you mind thing? Okay, right? So where are we at? Okay, where are we at? You guys hear me the same or better? It's supposed to be these mics. You're supposed to hear me better. No? It's just the same? Okay, right? Okay, so in any case, thank you. So in any case, right?
Let's win.
So you know what's bad? If the national swinging people will not even let Diddy get a thing in. They literally disassociated themselves with that mofo. They literally disassociated themselves, okay? Thank you. Thank you, sweetie. So they literally disassociated themselves with Diddy. How bad is it that the swingers had to come in and said, first of all, we're a legitimate lifestyle. Second of all, Diddy, keep that mess to yourself. We don't got nothing to do with it. Mark Agnifilio really messed up with that, and I don't even understand why. But I mean, I understand why. When you're dealing with rotten zucchini, you can't make lemonade. When you're dealing with rotten zucchini, you can't do anything. Okay, so what else happened in court? All right. A few other things happened.
Oh, my
the swingers came out and said no to Diddy. Diddy is 100 catching that drug predicate offense. They literally asked, does it matter if the person consumed it? If the person asked for it, is it still distribution? To which Maureen Comey said, hell yes, it's still distribution. Juror 25 was acting up, and now it makes me think that Juror 25 100%, right? It makes me think that Juror 25 100% was the one that was saying, okay, fine, maybe it's distribution, but if they asked for it, maybe it wasn't. Again, I'm not in the jury room. I'm not saying Juror 25 said it, but when you look at the earlier notes, it kind of signals. Again, you guys, we are on verdict watch, and nothing is going to be known until the jury comes out. You need 2 predicate acts that the jury unanimously has to agree upon. People thought that drug charge was weak, but it looks like the jury just found out that in the eyes of the law, what Diddy was doing was 100% is, and will always remain illegal. Illegal. Oh, hold on. Let me get to these questions really quick. Let me get to the questions. Oh, really quick. Eve loves God. Thank you so much for joining the family. Rich Guy interviews. What's up? Thank you. Mary from Virginia. Mary in Virginia, USA, right? Thank you so much for the super chat. Erica Jameson said, thank you for all your hard work and time. D Princess says, Comey needs to fight for that. Yes, before the jury instruction, it's imperative. The judge needs to stop overcomplicating it. Fight, Comey. Well, first of all, D, let me say this. Judge Aaron actually likes brevity and simplicity, so I think he's going to take that, but Comey is already fighting for it. Comey literally jumped up and did the lean and said, oh no, Your Honor, we're going to put a yes in front of there. Comey is 100% going to fight. Cameron Amos, welcome to the family. The Amazing Spider-Man said, careful with Jack Frost. He's always, who? Who's Jack Frost? Okay, thanks, Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know who Jack Frost is. Also, SP said, preach beautiful. Oh, thank you. A lot of people have thought this behavior is normal or about to get a rude awakening. Plenty of his supporters do the same. Exactly. Melissa Lopez said, oh, happy day. Joy Angel said, thank you, Tisa, for keeping us up to date. We appreciate you and are so proud for all your success. Marie Boneman, thank you so much for the super chat. Dylan Deckert, thank you so much for the super chat. Cameron Amos, thank you for the super chat. Janae Humphrey said, can you guys like this live? If you're watching, please. Love you, Tisa. Oh my God. You said my outfit is darling fab. Thank you. Diddy is getting Rico for sure. Also, Abraham Robert said, oh, thank you. I bet the makeup artists be so excited they get to work with you. Don't bring up makeup artists. We've been traumatized. Latoya Shambliss said, hey, Tisa, my color. Oh, thank you. Also, I'm willing to wait it out, but I really do hope we get a verdict by Wednesday. I think that'd be something very, very special. I hope you're right. Speak it into existence. Nest Dog said, it's pissing me off that Cassie keeps catching heat. She's just one of 34 witnesses. I personally believe she's the reason Puffy is done. First of all, Nest, I agree with you. I believe she is 100% the reason that Diddy is done. And the thing is, Cassie's touching heat because she had the balls to do what all these Diddy Glazers don't. And that is speaking truth to power. Also, Martinez, cool girl. Oh my God, thank you for the generous super chat. Okay, so there's a few other things I want to go over, and then I'll go over on a live chat later on today from the comfort of my own home, right? Okay, so hold on. So we also have, okay, so where are we at, right? Listen, let me just tell y'all, oh my gosh, you guys, thank you. Jeanette Aguar, thank you so much for the super chat. I think you're amazing too. Okay, so listen, let me just sum this up for everybody that's just joined.
Sum it up.
One, it's about to rain. One, Diddy's done. The jury has signaled that they likely got him on the RICO charge for sex trafficking. They wanted to know that under distribution, would Diddy still be guilty if the people he gave the drugs to asked for them? I saw season 1 of Narco, and the answer is, in fact, yes. I saw some of The Wire, and the answer actually is yes. Okay? Maureen Comey actually wants the jury to be reminded of that. On top of that, okay, juror number 25, the jury sent a note about juror 25 after only 2 hours of deliberation saying what is going on. He's not following the judge's directions. What do you want to do? However, it looks like that has been resolved, and it looked like there might have been a link between him not following the judge's directions and this. This is unconfirmed. We don't know, but we are piecing together. When it is on verdict watch, that is why I'm in the courtroom. I'm watching. Diddy's team was acting a fool. They were super, super upset. There was a lot of stuff going on. Listen, you guys, listen, I'm gonna have to continue this at my house. It looks like
It's about to rain.
Anyway, blessed child, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Listen, you guys, I have to get out of here because it is about to come down. But I'm going to go home and we're going to go live and go over everything. There's a lot of funny Diddy stories out today. Plus, I'm going to be putting some other stories out too, because even if things slow down with Diddy, we still have other fun things, people we can talk about, drag and jury cases we can cover. All right, so let me get out of here. I'll talk to y'all later. See y'all soon. I will see y'all soon. Okay, bye.
I did not know that drug distribution don't have anything to do with selling the drugs, distributing drugs. You could be giving them away. I never knew that. If you give away the drugs, you still doing wrong. What? Jesus Christ. So there you go right there. Not knowing the law doesn't excuse you from the law. Yeah. Wow. So that's one locked up. That's locked up. And I think juror 25 was probably thinking, Mr. Know-It-All, where he wasn't selling the drugs to the people. He was giving them away. So I don't think that's probably what happened with juror 25. And they going by the book. They saying, well, right here it says this. Nah, that's not right. You putting your opinion in it. You need to go by what this says. So they sent a note out to the judge. This is what I'm thinking. I'm just guessing at it, right? I wasn't there. They sent a note to the judge and said, well, let's ask him the question. Because it's 12 of us in here and you acting like you know it all. He wasn't selling the drugs. That don't make a difference. He was distributing the drugs. It's still distribution. Even though they wasn't paying for it, it's still distribution. Nah. He ain't no drug dealer because he wasn't selling them. That's all he was thinking about. So they sent a note out. They sent the note out to straighten that up and come find out you don't have to buy them. He distributed them to everybody in the party. So that's against the law. He was distributing all kinds of drugs to people in the party. He had candy dishes of drugs laying around that you just pop them in the. Yeah, everybody's saying that. So that's a wrap. As far as I'm concerned, that's a straight up wrap. That's one. And then all the other ones, you can just guess at one. If they find two of them, you out of there, cuz. You might as well start working on your appeal. Look here, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. I'm going to get on up out of here. God dang, young. Even the daggone, not freak off people, what you call them, the swingers. I'm a swinger. They said, don't put that mess up on us. We are a nice organization. Everybody consents. Good God Almighty, boy, y'all take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. Ooh, I feel a lot better now. I think I'm going up there Wednesday. I think I got some things I got to take care of tomorrow. Once I take care of everything, I'm gone. Golly, should I keep this? I was going to try to. What? This is a lie. Let's go with this. It's 10 minutes. What's this? 15 minutes. 10,000 views, 50,000.
Sean Combs walking.
This is 8 hours ago. And we'll do both of them together. You know how we do. What is up? What is up, YouTube? Hey, we are live while we doing our reactions. And, dude, I'm trying to tell y'all right now, Tisa Tales. I'm trying to not mispronounce people's names. Tisa is real talk, man. She dropped some bombshells. Y'all got to go check that video out. She dropped some bombshells on that joint. The daggone swinger people. I didn't even know that they was a official organization, nonprofit. They got their stuff together to do swinger type stuff, right? You can sign up. You got to go through this long thing to be a part of it, and then you get busy. But if you say no, no means no. They don't play that. And they had a nerve to say what Diddy did, don't, because, you know, one of his lawyers said, well, he was just a superstar living the swinger life. No, he ain't living the swinger life. They coming back saying that. Just like the baby oil thing, Costco. We don't even sell baby oil. Man, get your stuff together, dog. You supposed to be a lawyer? Are you sure you're a lawyer? You and look here, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's see what Nancy Grace is talking about. Let's check this bad boy out.
Sean comes walking into the courtroom. Oh, namaste. What? What? A yoga Zen thing?
Greeting his lawyers with a yoga studio-esque bow.
Namaste. My rear end.
This is horrific that he's allowed to walk into court and he's being all cute and calm.
He can namaste his way all the way to the MDC. He wasn't all namaste in the middle of all these freak-offs. He can chill out behind bars for the rest of his life for all I care.
So this guy...
I'm gonna tell you like this, man. If Diddy get off, right? If Diddy get off, man, it's something crooked that went on upstairs. Real high upstairs. Some jurors got paid off. Something that went down crooked. It's gonna be a skunk up in that courtroom somewhere.
He namaste his way all the way to the MDC. He wasn't all namaste in the middle of all these freak-offs. He can chill out behind bars for the rest of his life for all I care.
So this guy isn't concerned at all with kicking her, beating her, dragging her. You know what he's concerned with? And Nancy, I'm going somewhere I never thought I would go. He's concerned with holding his towel up. He cares about keeping that. There you go. I thought I'd never go here, Nancy, but I have to go there because I woke up thinking about it. He's more concerned that we don't see that TR. I don't want to say the whole thing because this is a family program.
Tootsie
but
Roll,
that's what he.
people have even gone so far to refer to it as a little raisin. Straight back over to Sydney Sumner, Crime Stories investigative reporter. I understand that Sean Combs had his son Christian Combs, along with his god uncle Kanye, very busy last night.
Yes, they have released an EP today, and one of the songs on that EP is called Diddy Free, and the lyrics say that we aren't going to sleep until we see Diddy free. And those lyrics actually mention you, Nancy. They don't understand, but they stand me. Tell them, give me grace, even Nancy. So this isn't the first song that he's released speaking about his dad's legal troubles. And honestly, I don't think they're doing any positive things for him. This Bible might come in handy. This rifle might come in handy. I don't think threatening gun violence is really doing much to persuade anyone that your dad is innocent of these crimes.
Okay, you know, the jurors get to go home every night. They are not sequestered, and they can be exposed to this rap song created by, God help him, Christian Combs and Kanye. Why you would want your child around Kanye, I do not know, but that's a whole nother can of worms. Let's take a look at the lyrics. Ain't gonna sleep till we see Diddy free. Ain't gonna sleep till we see Diddy free. When it gets sus, they try to play the victim. Playing the victim, that's an attack on the victims. Outspoken, I ain't keeping in. Blah, 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 blah. Now, you know, I noticed part of it refers to a Plan B, which is an abortion drug, which came up during this trial. It says they ain't got to lose. What are they talking about? The victims or the jurors? I ain't one of them. And then it goes on to talk about Astro, what? Astro Glide? And it says, like, damn, why the am I in the tabloids? You know what? That's a really good question. Why Combs's children have been dragged into this. They are being used as a PR tool. And now, you want to tell me this happened without Sean Combs knowing that it would drop just before the defense closing arguments? Further looking at the lyrics that dropped last night, the Bible might come in handy. Like what? It's a prop. The rifle might come in handy. I don't know if my dad was charged with brandishing weapons, if that came out in evidence, and I'm referring to the Suge Knight attack attempt that the minions described on the stand. I don't know if I would be talking about a rifle. Then, of course, Christ gets dragged in. It's one night I want Jesus Christ to answer. Then they want to stop me, the kid. They want to stop the kid like a plan B. Okay, we heard the testimony, and we know about, whether the jury understands it fully, that one woman was forced into an abortion. They don't understand me. Tell them, give me grace, even Nancy. And it refers to Bad Boy throughout. That would be Bad Boy Records. Okay, let's hear it.
They don't understand, but they stand me. Tell them, give me grace, even Nancy.
Oh my God.
Okay, you know, some people ask, are you angry? No, I'm not. I'm full of remorse for what Sean Combs is doing to his children. Eric Fatt is joining me, veteran trial lawyer. Have you ever prosecuted a case where the children, unless they were the victims, thought their parents did it? Because I don't think I've ever had a case where the children thought their dad was guilty, even adult children. They never believe the parent did it.
Damn.
Yeah, Nancy, I can't think of one. Really, the family often rallies around the defendant in these cases, provides support. They want to believe. They want to believe their family member is not guilty of these heinous allegations. And that's understandable. But oftentimes, like you mentioned, the family can be brought in sort of as pawns, sometimes in the trial itself, sometimes outside the trial, especially in these highly publicized cases. And I think a lot of folks think that may be what was going on with Diddy and his children.
Let's take one more listen to Diddy Free. This is released by possibly the only person in the world that thinks Sean Combs is innocent, and that would be his son, standing by him. God bless him. Christian King Combs, and of course, the illustrious Kanye.
They don't understand, but they stand me. Tell them, give me grace, even Nancy. Tell them,
What? What? A yoga Zen thing? What are you talking about?
Well, Nancy, I don't know if you've ever been to a yoga class. I used to attend pretty often, but you just, at the end of class, at the beginning of class, you put your hands together and you do a short little bow to everyone else in the classroom to show your respect for everyone. And that's exactly what Combs has been doing to all 8 of his lawyers in the courtroom every morning when he comes to see them.
Sydney, you cannot live in New York City, in Manhattan, and not be subjected to a yoga class, particularly a hot yoga class, the worst. But what you're saying is like a Zen namaste. Oh, okay. You know what? Straight out to Lynn Shaw joining me, executive director, founder of Lynn's Warriors, dedicated to ending sexploitation, trafficking of women and girls. Namaste my rear end. He can namaste his way all the way to the MDC. He wasn't all namaste in the middle of all these freak-offs. You know how big of a stack? They had to do an 800 number for all the women calling in claiming that they were victims of Sean Combs freak-offs, king nights, hotel nights, whatever euphemism he wants to use. These women claiming they were drugged in their drinks, that they woke up covered in baby oil with their vaginas hurting, and he's all, namaste, my rear end.
What a slap in the face to all victims of any kind of sexual exploitation, abuse. I mean, this is horrific. And you know what? I'm putting my money on the jury that everybody can see right through this act of contrition, because this is horrific that he's allowed to walk into court and he's being all cute and calm. And you know what? Yesterday I was saying I don't want to call him the nicknames I've called him, Dirty Diddy and things like that. But today I want to go back to that because I am sick and tired of this. Who is protecting? Who is talking to? Who is giving advice, counsel to these hundreds, as far as we know, right? You know, victims of his, probably thousands over the years. So I'm just hoping that this playbook of his, this Dirty Diddy playbook, everybody's on to him. Everybody's sick of him. And you know what? We have to turn that focus and hope and hope and hope that victims, survivors, anybody watching this, he's turning it into a laugh stock fest here, some kind of festival. This is a court of law. He's supposed to be up for his life, right? And the family and him and the lawyer singing, it's too much, Nancy. It's just too much.
I know. Did you hear that yesterday, Dr. Bethany Marshall? You were with us last night when we learned that 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗞𝗦, the defense attorney, went on the mic and started singing, her name was Lola. He started singing 𝗘𝗎𝗄𝐴 in a sex trafficking trial. And it just threw me over the edge because I have dealt with rape victims. Look around. I'm looking around the studio. At least 1 in 4 women have been sex assault victims. Think about that. Think about it. People you'd never suspect have been sex assault victims. And he's singing 𝗘𝗎𝗄𝐴 into the microphone, and now Sean Combs comes in and does the namaste. Really? He can chill out behind bars for the rest of his life for all I care.
Nancy,
What's
it's
the
not just
dichotomy? What is this?
Well, it's one more male, and females do it too, minimizing the severity of sex trafficking. Nancy, I don't think our nation or world really understands what sex trafficking is. This whole question that maybe the women consented, that means they were in a relationship and not that they were coerced, is so false when you think of the whole psychology of sex trafficking.
That's true. A lot of people don't really know the definition step by step of the sex trafficking thing. But at the same time, is this the one I was going to click?
And we are in
there's a lot of
verdict
things
watch here at Crime.
There's a lot of things that they don't understand, just like distribution of drugs. No money needs to be involved. I just found that out myself. I was like, what? No money needs to be involved. And yeah, most definitely, if you giving the drugs away for free, that's against the law. You buying they illegal drugs. They are legal. And you giving them away for free. Nah, cuz you still in trouble. Look here, we're going to do this one right here, man. We're going to do this is a 2-for-1 Nancy Grace Day.
And we are in a verdict watch here at Crime Stories, but it all boils down to what 12 individuals believe. 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗞𝗦 used one old tired phrase after the next. She wanted it. She got paid. It was just homemade porn. Really? As if that's a defense?
The jury and the galley was looking like, sir, what are you talking about?
𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗞𝗦, the lead defense attorney, stated that Cassie was gangsta. Did he actually say the word gangsta? The white bread boy from law school called the rape victims gangsta? Did I just hear that?
Cassie was gangster. Cassie was a minx that seduced all these men. She was gangster. She could take 2 or 3 men at a time. This is a woman that liked sex. She liked it. She was in control. That was a very cringe moment.
Oh, okay. That was way cringy.
I still think Diddy is running the whole show.
He certainly likes to win and have things his own way. I know he's looking at that jury like an audience.
This whole gray hair act, he's doing that on purpose.
He always is thinking about image. He's always thinking about himself.
He was trying to look contrite. He wants the jury to feel sorry for him.
He's been on stage and he knows what it's like to lose an audience.
He doesn't want the cameras to pick up on this.
Now he's sitting in this courtroom and he can tell, he's a professional at this, Nancy. He can tell that this just is not working.
Vanity, thy name is Diddy. Okay, let me understand what you just said, 𝗖𝗔𝗡𝗟𝗢. Everyone, 𝗖𝗔𝗡𝗟𝗢 from 𝗖𝗔𝗡𝗟𝗢 on YouTube, joining us outside the courthouse. And what a day it has been in the courtroom. We'll get into jury instructions in just a moment. But did you say that 𝗟𝗑𝗢𝗓𝗖, the lead defense attorney, stated that Cassie was gangsta and that she was fine to take 2 to 3 men at once?
He said that what he actually said was she would juggle them 2, 3 at a time. But Nancy, you hit it on the head. That inference, that little sly, gross thought he was trying to plant in the jury's head, 2 to 3. Let's not forget when she was getting the train ran on her. It was 2 or 3 people. It was disgusting to see what he was doing. And that inference that you picked up on was not lost on the jury. He lost them with that old school misogyny. It was too much. It was too much.
Okay, wait a minute. Did he actually say the word gangsta? Did he say
Yes.
that?
Yes, he said Cassie was straight up. And this is right after he was referring to her juggling 2 or 3 at a time. Cassie was gangster. She didn't care. I mean, I guess I don't want to sound judgy. There's nothing wrong with this. This is a woman that liked sex. She liked it. She was in control. She knew what she wanted. It was back to back to back grossness. And again, I can understand if the prosecution had not done such a great job with their closing arguments, maybe he could have skated by, but it was night and day, and it really made the jury, in my mind, say, whose side are you on, and where are you going to draw the line at where you see victims? It was very startling.
So let me understand this. The white bread boy from law school called the rape victims gangsta? Did I just hear that?
Yes, and again, it sounded just as cheesy and corny and landed like a load of bricks, but he still did it. And it made me think, was Diddy involved in that closing argument? Was he giving him notes about, no, call her straight gangster? Again, maybe right message, wrong messenger. That was a very cringe moment. You know, as soon as it came out of Mark's mouth, you could tell he just wanted to make that go away and just move on to the next point.
Okay, joining me, Rob Shuter. He is the host of Naughty But Nice podcast, and you can find him at Rob Shuter, and that's SHUTER, not Bang Bang Shooter. RobShuter.substack.com, former publicist for Sean Combs. Okay, I'm just trying to get that mental picture of 𝗟𝗑𝗢𝗓𝗖, the white bread boy from law school, fixing his mouth to call the rape victims gangsta, and they could take it, that Cassie could juggle, pull a train, 2 to 3 men at a time. You're the PR guru. I bet that fell flat.
Worse than that, Nancy. It's absolutely tone deaf. I'm shocked that Diddy's paying good money for this legal team. And Diddy is a perfectionist. At least when I worked with him, he certainly likes to win and have things his own way. I can't believe that this is the argument that they're using, that he's allowing them to use, that he's not objecting to it. He has made a living for 20 years, really, really understanding what the audience wants. And I know he's looking at that jury like an audience. He's been on stage and he knows what it's like to lose an audience. He's played the Garden, some of the biggest venues in the world. Now he's sitting in this courtroom and he can tell, he's a professional at this, Nancy. He can tell that this just is not working. I'm so surprised that they are doing this, and I'm even more surprised that Diddy hasn't at least tried to correct this ship. It's a bad, bad look.
They had Sean Combs dressed up like a Harvard freshman again in court today, wearing his usual cream-colored sweater. But I heard that throughout the judge's instructions, very often he had his head down. Why? What was happening?
When he had his head down, for some reason, here's the thing, he had his head down. I get what he was going for. He was trying to look contrite. He wants the jury to feel sorry for him. But I will say his messaging and his body language has been very off. Diddy, every morning, he does come out the door like a celebrity. He walked in. He paused, almost like he expected everyone to take pictures and whatnot. Now, this is maybe 8 feet he has to walk. He walked to the side. He did his smile. He did the love. He blew kisses at his family, told his daughters he loved them, mouthed, "I love you," and then said nodding, 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 because he remembered he's supposed to be a frail old man. He forgets sometimes. In his head, I think he's that young, sprightly 25-year-old that can, shake hands, kiss babies, and charm the ladies. I don't think he realizes that he comes across a little creepy in court. So when he has his head down, it looks like, I get it, you're trying to look sad, but are you going to sleep? Hello? Are you up? When he's sitting there trying to look contrite, he looks like somebody's grandfather trying to look like a 3-year-old. Even when you look at his body language, dressed like a Harvard law student, always a fresh haircut, but his hair is graying, which, again, where are you going with the image? I would think that if you are being accused of making these women do freak-offs and it's something you do to please your lover, you would want to look as young and handsome as possible to make it seem like these girls could actually be attracted to you without coercion. That is not the case. So again, it's just another misfire and Diddy thinking he knows more than anything. Now that said, like Rob said, he's made a whole career out of reading people. So maybe he sees something on the jury that we don't.
Okay, Rob Shooter joining us, host of Naughty But Nice podcast. Rob Shooter, if he walks, the first place he's going is to the Duane Reade or the CVS right around the corner from the courthouse. Actually, he would send a minion to do it. He wouldn't do it himself. And tank back up on Just for Men. This whole gray hair act, he's doing that on purpose to make himself look frail and pitiful in front of the jury. Not like a guy that could beat Cassie Ventura's rear end on video, dragging her up and down the hall. And as was pointed out last week, holding on, he didn't mind beating her with one hand. But one thing he did hold on to, was hold on to that towel so this wouldn't show. Okay? Let me see that video one more time, please. No matter what he did, he did the all-star punting kicks. He came running down the hall. Look at that. Grabbing her stuff. Ow. Okay, I never get past those kicks while she's laying there playing dead. But he never lets go of the towel. And many people have suggested it's because at all costs, he doesn't want the cameras to pick up on this. Okay?
Oh,
So,
my God.
vanity, thy name is Diddy.
I think that's a beautiful, very, very smart way of really summarizing who he is, Nancy. He always is thinking about image. He's always thinking about himself. He's always thinking about the way he can sell something. Let's be really clear here. Puffy is not a star because he's a great rapper, a great singer, a great actor, a great dancer. No, he's a great PR guy. He's a great marketing guy. And so I would imagine he was pretty angry with his son for wearing that T-shirt because it's the opposite thing to what Diddy has been projecting, portraying in the court. So I would imagine Puff was not that happy about that. But I do think here it would be so easy and a mistake for us all to believe that this is over. The word that I'm hearing, not in the courtroom, but on the street, in the music business, is they're all expecting him to be home really, really soon. And so you got to take that into account too. It's very easy to get into this bubble where the evidence is so strong and what should happen is what we want to happen. But often that isn't the case, particularly when a marketing, a manipulative person is involved, and Diddy's that.
Rob, the daughters who have had to leave court several times in tears during the testimony, that's a whole nother can of worms, why he had his daughters and children in there listening to the worst of the worst from the state. They all dressed in black today. And I remember prosecuting, I never wore like red, yellow, vibrant orange, because the cases I prosecuted were all violent felonies, and it just seemed wrong. It just seemed inappropriate. And so it's a very solemn note. And that Diddy orchestrated right down to what they were wearing.
Yeah, I think you're right, Nancy. What I will say, though, here is that there's a little bit of performance going on, too, with the kids. I don't want to go after someone's kids for their for their parents' crimes, but it has been undoubted that Puffy's kids have had a really amazing life because of their dad. And because of what their dad does and who their dad is, these are not the Von Trapp family. They have seen a lot. These kids have been around his parties. They've been around
Not
his
the
life.
Von Trapp family. Did you just,
Don't say
you're
that.
talking about what, the 7 children of in Sound of Music that would put on those frocks and sing at the Family Music Festival? Yeah, no, the Von Trapps, they ain't. That's true. Go ahead.
They ain't that. This is a family that has been around money, power, fame, celebrities, sex, violence. They've heard their dad's songs. They've rapped along to other rap artists. These are very aggressive lifestyles, and they were born into this lifestyle. So they're really used to seeing, hearing, and maybe even participating in some very, very, very what we would consider strange scenes, strange environments. So I wouldn't feel too bad for the kids here. I think that they're part of the Combs family. It's a deal that maybe they didn't want to make. They had no choice in it, but they've been born into this lifestyle and they have benefited from their dad's success, from his money.
I'm very surprised you brought up the Von Trapp family. Weren't they raised by a nun, Sister Maria? Remember her, aka Julie Andrews? Okay, these children have not been raised by a nun, okay? But following up on what you said, to me, Dr. Bethany Marshall, that makes me feel for these children even more so because they never had what I had. Of course, I grew up on a red dirt road drinking water from a well my grandfather dug in the backyard, okay? But you know what I did have? I had a mother that took care of me and a father. Both of them worked all day into the night, came home, had supper with us, and they were there for me. I mean, it ain't easy for my dad to work on the railroad and my mom to work at a factory, right? But they did. But we had love. These children never had that constant in their life. Now they're sitting in their dad's felony trial. A lot of people have asked me, wow, how do you feel about Christian Combs putting you on a diss track? I didn't see it that way at all. I didn't see it as a diss at all.
Yeah.
I saw it as an adult son trying to take up for his father, and I actually feel bad that they're in that position.
Amen.
I do too, Nancy. They've been
Amen.
raised in a culture of sex abuse, of violence, a culture of narcissism, guns, multiple mothers, half siblings. You know, it's just a very confusing environment. And, you know, this is going to be a therapeutic experience for them sitting in court because they have to take in all kinds of information about
Have
their
you
father.
lost your mind? Have you lost your mind? You're calling
I think
hearing
it
your
would be.
father accused of sex trafficking therapeutic, okay?
Yes,
I
I am,
know
Nancy. It's called
you're
holding
out in
up a
Beverly
mirror.
Hills and I was raised on a dirt road, but ain't nothing therapeutic about hearing the truth about your father, that he's a sex trafficker.
So. I do, Nancy, because they have to be in reality. They've been raised in an upside down world. Listen to what Agnifilo said today, okay? So when he says that Cassie Ventura was just trying to please her man, you know, just because your man wants and you don't, but you're just going to do it to make him happy, he's basically saying women need to take it up, okay? As an analyst, I hear all the metaphors. I hope those kids sitting in court, hearing all this degradation of women, have a good therapist to talk to so they can make sense of it. And all of this putting women down because Cassie Ventura got $20 million. You know, with Michael Jackson, when he paid his first victim $30 million, we didn't say that 9-year-old was a gold digger. We said Michael Jackson must have done something really, really bad if he paid out $30 million. And all this money, I think, is because P. Diddy really needs to cover his tracks.
Since Kanye and Diddy's son is putting out a song, Uncle Mike is putting out his song, and it's going to be released tomorrow. Some people already heard him. I'm going to play it again on the live stream. I should play it right now because I got to make sure I'm clicking on the right one. Y'all want to hear the song? Y'all got to wait. Go to Spotify. Go to Spotify or YouTube. I don't know. I don't know how to work the thing, man. So I'm going to give her a thumbs up. I'm going to get on up out of here. Hey, y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. Woo, woo, woo. All right, well, I take a water break. Let's see if this thing, because I know by the end, I want to put up the wave file. Hey. Yeah. Yeah. I thought I'd just send this one out to Diddy's kids. I'll be right back, y'all. Wait a minute. It's Uncle Mike, y'all. Yeah. They say the apple don't fall far from the tree. Then the sun's in the light where the cameras be. Puff built an empire off of hustle and fame. Then the boys in the court trying to clear their name. Media buzzing, got the headlines lit. Talking about charges, but the facts don't fit. A legacy's great, ain't easy to bend. When your father's a mogul, they all stop and stare. Now he's standing in the courtroom, pressure so wild. With the world on his shoulder, legacy on trial. He ain't asked for the fame or the flashing lens. Just trying to live life, not make amends. Now he's standing in the courtroom, pressure so wild. With the world on his shoulder, legacy on trial. He ain't asked for the fame or the flashing lens. Just trying to live life, not make amends. They see Diddy in his eyes, so the judgment's fast. But the son ain't the sin of his father's past. Every move they make, they dissect with spite. Forget he's still young, trying to find what's right. Whispers in the crowd, they talk like they know, but ain't been in the shoes or walked through the snow. Social media courtroom is useless feed. Facts take a back seat when clicks gonna lead. Now he's standing in the courtroom, pressure so wild. With the world on his shoulder, legacy on trial. He ain't asked for the fame or the flashing lens. Just trying to live life, not make amends. Now he's standing in the courtroom, pressure so wild. With the world on his shoulder, legacy on trial. He ain't asked for the fame or the flashing lens. Just trying to live life, not make amends. The truth's gonna rise and the lies don't win. But karma got a timing and it don't pretend. If you're guilty, let justice take control. If he innocent, let him walk out whole. So before you throw shade or feed that flame, remember every man got his own damn name. Not just the son of a star or a hip-hop king. He's a man with a voice, let the gavel ring. Let's rap. Yeah. I'm putting that joint up on Spotify. Tyson Roberts, what it do? OG Mike Cross the boss. Did you hear it? You hear the whole song? You heard a little bit of it. Yeah. This is crazy, man. Oh my gracious. I don't know. Live. Why didn't she take the stand for Diddy? Oh, they watching that joint now. Oh, shut
Consent for sex.
Here we go. Little bit sounds good. Appreciate it, man. I'm ready to drop that bad boy. Hope you're doing good. What's up, Tyson Roberts? Hey. 5 hours ago, we'll do this joint right here. I'm going to keep it going, man. I'm going to do one more, which is 30 minutes. Then I'm going to bed. I got a lot of things I got to do tomorrow, man. So, 30 minutes. What is up? What is up, YouTube? P. Diddy fights for his life as jury debates his faith. What? Dude, I done learned a couple of things, man. I didn't know that distributing drugs, if you distribute drug or drug trafficking don't have nothing to do with money. You can traffic the drugs for free, and that's against the law. I'm like, what? So that's one of the things that the jury and stuff went out and asked the judge and going by the book. Because they think, well, he didn't sell the drugs to the people. He was giving it to them for free. That's still distribution. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Uncle Mike learned something today. Let's check this bad boy. Yeah.
Trafficking, party lifestyle versus felony, rapper versus criminal boss. Two competing narratives were presented to the jury before they began deliberations in the Sean Diddy Combs federal sex crimes trial. We are breaking down the highlights of the prosecution and the defense closing arguments as we await the highly anticipated verdict in a trial followed around the world. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. At the time of this recording, the jury in Sean Diddy Combs' criminal trial is about to be handed over the case, believe it or not. Wow. They're ultimately going to determine whether or not Diddy is guilty of 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Let me also just say, I know my voice is off. I had a wedding this weekend. I know I go to a wedding before deliberations, potential verdict this week. I know I kind of lost my voice. Anyway, what's happening? So, aside from jury instructions, the actual law that they will follow in this case that was explained to them by the judge, the last thing that they heard in this case were closing arguments. And I say this all the time, how important closing arguments are. The last attempt by each side to persuade the jury as to whether or not a defendant is guilty or not guilty, right? The last attempt to summarize all the evidence and testimony in a case in a compelling narrative. It's the last chance to convince the jurors. But here, in a complicated case like this, with so many charges and so many elements, closing arguments in this case were especially important. Think about the amount of testimony and the amount of evidence that the jurors were presented and have to comb through. How did they make sense of it all? And we heard from both the prosecution and the defense. And I have to believe that as the jurors go back to deliberate Diddy's fate, they will not only consider all that was presented to them over the course of a nearly 7-week trial, but also the closing arguments. They may be guided by what the prosecution and the defense argued about the evidence and testimony. So we figured it's probably good to highlight some of the major key points from both the prosecution and the defense's closing arguments, maybe even wins by the prosecution and the defense in their closing arguments. And I say we, because I'm not doing this alone. I want to bring on somebody who was there for every day of testimony in this case, and she was certainly there for the closing arguments. Somebody who knows the ins and outs of this case, Law and Crime's in-court reporter, Elizabeth Milner, or as everybody online likes to call her now, Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth is here for everybody. Elizabeth, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Jesse.
So, I'm going to start with the prosecution, and then we'll talk about the defense, and then we'll talk about the rebuttal prosecution closing. First up, we had AUSA, Assistant United States Attorney Christy Slavic, delivered the prosecution's closing argument. And what stood out to me, and I thought this was critical, is Slavic said that at the heart of sex trafficking, right, the heart of the sex trafficking counts, and also by extension the racketeering conspiracy, because remember, that whole charge is built upon the idea that Sean Combs operated a criminal enterprise that was built upon a pattern of abuse of women. And one of the underlying predicate crimes of this criminal association, this criminal enterprise, is sex trafficking. So sex trafficking is the heart of it. She said something very critical. She said, quote, "We're not asking you to find that every single freak off or every single hotel night was sex trafficking. Cassie and Jane both have long relationships with the defendant that have ups and downs. They both told you that they were willing to try freak offs at the beginning and were open to possibly doing them again. And even though they both repeatedly testified about not wanting to have freak-offs, there may have been some instances where the elements of sex trafficking aren't met. But to convict the defendant of sex trafficking, you do not need to find that all of the freak-offs or even the majority of the freak-offs that he had with Cassie or Jane were the product of force, fraud, or coercion. As I expect the judge will instruct you, you only need to find that the elements of sex trafficking are met on one occasion during the period charged in the indictment." By the way, you know how there's no cameras allowed in the courtroom, there's no recording devices allowed? It's frustrating, to say the least, because how great would it have been to have something like Claude Nopin in the courtroom with us, right? This tiny wearable AI-powered device completely changes the game. So I that means in combination. And quote, "You If you want to make the most of your time, it's time to try the Applaud No Pin right now. And right now, you can get 10% off. Just click the link below or scan the QR code on screen. She went on to say, quote, "You don't have to find that all force, threats of force, coercion, or fraud were used. It can be any of these illegal means alone, and it can be any of these illegal means in combination. And this is an obvious point, but the fact that a victim consents once to a commercial sex act, that doesn't mean that she consented every time. You only need to find that one of these hotel nights, or freak-offs, right, meets the elements of sex trafficking here." So Elizabeth, she really doubled down on that. That was her getting in front of the times when it appeared that Jane and Cassie consented, but also clarifying what this case is about, right? You just need to find that one time. That was important, right?
Yeah, that was definitely really important, Jesse. And it was something that was surprising to me because if you think back to just the summary witnesses and the flight summary charts, according to the government, there are several alleged instances of sex trafficking. But again, to your point, Jesse, 𝗟𝗖𝗡𝗞 really kind of telling the jury you really only need to find one instance of sex trafficking to find the defendant guilty. But as it pertains to Jane, 𝗟𝗖𝗡𝗞 really kind of took it piece by piece by piece, kind of really laying out the different stages of how this turned out to be kind of alleged sex trafficking. And so the first stage was the drugs, the outfits, putting pornography on together. The second stage being the fantasy talk, and that was the fantasy talk as it comes to Sean Combs fantasizing about Jane doing things with other men in front of him. And so 𝗟𝗖𝗡𝗞 even said during her closing argument that Jane thought it was going to be just this one-time thing, that it was going to be the first hotel night, that would be it. But then it just kind of set forth their entire relationship, and that within a few months of just doing these hotel nights, she wanted them to stop. But even the third stage, she had pointed out, was using payments of Jane's rent as leverage. And so there were just several instances of sex trafficking that they particularly talked about. And again, that being the prosecution, where they point to specific instances such as the sobriety party that happened in October of 2023, where Jane tried to go do a hotel night without using drugs. And then she ended up throwing up between escort number 2 and escort number 3. And then, of course, one of the big things that the prosecution really talked about was a clear point of sex trafficking in their eyes was what had happened on June 18th, June 19th of 2024. So just last year, or it's just been a year now. But in terms of when Sean Combs was over at Jane's residence, there was a physical altercation, and then she was allegedly forced to do a hotel night at her home with another escort. And this was after she was beaten, after she was kicked and dragged, and other instances. And so as far as it comes to count 4, those were just the big points that the prosecution alleged were sex trafficking. Obviously, there was a lot more that they wanted to talk about. But in terms of just even kind of the sexually explicit videos of the hotel night / the freak-offs, the Wild King nights, whatever you want to call them, I remember there was a point kind of as we were wrapping up the case overall that the defense was really kind of showing the jury these sexually explicit videos. However, the prosecution is saying that Jane might have been on this liquid Molly, and or / MDMA that was kind of liquefied, or it was mixed in with water, and then it was like kind of squirted into her mouth, and that's why she may have sounded enthusiastic, or it might have appeared that she was consensual in these particular sexually explicit videos. But again, the government kind of pointing out that this was a clear instance of Jane being under the influence of drugs, and maybe that's why she appeared to be consenting or enthusiastic as far as just her demeanor on these sexually explicit videos that, of course, we in the gallery didn't see. Only the jury has seen it, and the parties and the witness and the defendant, of course,
and there was a number of text messages from Jane where she is showing her reluctance to engaging in this, whether she was upset, she was jealous, whether she was upset how she was being treated. It was clear from messages that she took issue with these nights. And look, with Cassie, if you talk about whether or not there are clear-cut examples more than any others of sex trafficking, I've said it before, I'll say it again, the 2016 Intercontinental Hotel attack video, right? Because she claims that she was leaving a freak-off. Maybe it hadn't been completed, but then there was a sex worker in the room. She's being dragged back in the direction of the room. I think that can hit and check a lot of the elements of sex trafficking. Also checking a lot of the sex trafficking elements are the allegation when she was on an airplane with Sean Combs. He sits next to her, shows her sex tapes. She feels he threatens to release them. That's a form of a threat, form of intimidation. There's a travel component. They land. He demands a freak off. He gets a freak off. That also checks a lot of the boxes. And by the way, they also use forensic psychologist Dr. 𝗓𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦's explanations, right, throughout the closing argument to explain some of the behavior of Jane and Cassie, right? That was very strategic.
Yeah, and I think it made a lot of sense because Dr. 𝗓𝗓𝗡𝗞's testimony, kind of similar to Cassie's, was so early on in the case that I think it was a good reminder for the jury to hear, you know, why didn't she leave? Well, it's because Dr. 𝗓𝗓𝗡𝗞's testified that, of course, a lot of abuse victims don't necessarily leave their partners right away because they want to go back to remembering the times where everything was good and they were in love, and that a lot of victims normally do that. And I think that's the big question, is why don't these victims leave? And I think Dr. 𝗓𝗓𝗡𝗞 did a great job explaining that. And I think 𝗟𝗓𝗡 𝗖𝗢𝗢𝗡 also did a great job and really kind of sprinkling in little pieces here and there of Dr. 𝗓𝗓𝗡𝗞's testimony in terms of why these women didn't leave, why they continue to stay, why they felt obligated to do these kind of sexually explicit acts, these sexual acts during these freak-offs or hotel nights and that sort. But I think it was really great that she really went back to the forensic psychologist and really kind of put together maybe just the pieces or the parts that maybe people were kind of wondering in their head as in terms of why. And so she did a great job really kind of sprinkling in here and there why that may have happened.
Going to the racketeering conspiracy charge, arguably the most complex charge, the top charge, carries life in prison. When you heard Prosecutor 𝗟𝗏𝗡 talking about this and why they believe they have proven that there is in fact a criminal enterprise, this association of Combs' inner circle, that they all had to serve the common purpose, which was to protect him, to serve him, that they all agreed to commit underlying predicate crimes like drug distribution, kidnapping, bribery, arson. What stood out to you as some of the best arguments for why, in fact, there was an enterprise, why there was a criminal agreement?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it kind of stood out to me. And the way that the government was really kind of explaining how they've kind of met their case in terms of all the predicate acts, including drug distribution, kidnapping, arson, bribery, sex trafficking, forced labor, witness tampering, interstate transportation for prostitution. I feel like each and every single point of those predicate acts, they really kind of explained why the defendant might be found guilty on these. But I think the ones that kind of stood out to me was obviously drug distribution. And I say drug distribution mainly because every single witness who had testified in terms of the assistants, in terms of Jane, in terms of Cassie, they really kind of talked about drugs, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, okay, these are low amounts of drugs if you kind of think about it, but it doesn't matter. According to the prosecution, they say that drug distribution counts as delivering, passing on drugs as distribution, and they say it's a special ingredient for freak-offs, and some of the participants of kind of the alleged drug distribution were people like 𝗷𝗓𝗏, people like 𝗘𝐿 or Christina Koram, people like Fahim Muhammad. And AUSA 𝗟𝗓𝗡 𝗖𝗢𝗢𝗡 said that the first element of this is that the co-conspirator distributed the drugs. The second element being that the co-conspirator distributed the drugs knowingly. So they pointed to different drugs that have been testified about, like cocaine, meth, ketamine, oxycodone, Xanax, MDMA, GHB, 2C, and then mushrooms too. But in terms of just even distributing drugs to others, that they brought exhibits up, like exhibits including text messages from Brendan Paul to Fahim, where Brendan Paul had wrote in a particular text message, "KK is aware $780 for personal Gucci items." What do we know about personal Gucci items? That they normally included drugs that were found in a Gucci bag that was normally close or on Diddy's person at all times for the most part. And then in terms of just other exhibits, between text message chains between Guido and Fahim. Guido was an alleged drug dealer that was often used, and Fahim was one of Diddy's personal security guards, where the text message said, "Hey there, Puff has a balance of $450. So I think kind of proving that element, even in terms of just the Combs enterprise agreeing to distribute drugs, where there were messages from D-Rock where D-Rock had said, he sent a text where he said, "I need some for bro," bro being Sean Combs, and then the some being, drugs. And then Christina Koram too, the prosecution really kind of pointed out that Christina Koram knew that Jane was taking drugs while she was doing these hotel nights, because there was one point in one instance that they pointed out where Jane was kind of convulsing on the beach from sand after kind of a really intense drug effect, and that Christina Koram was really aware of this, and that she kind of helped Jane while she was kind of having this reaction out on the beach, out on the sand. But I think another big point, Jesse, that really stood out to me is obviously kidnapping, and the government pointed to 3 different different instances of kidnapping. One being January of 2009, where Cassie's face was stomped on and she was held at a hotel, allegedly against her will, where Sean Combs got jealous because she was talking to a producer, and then Cassie drunkenly punched Sean Combs in the face, that he assaulted her very brutally, and that he forced her to stay in a hotel for a week, and that people like Roger Bonds, who was Diddy's then security guard, wouldn't let her leave. She wanted to go home to her mom, but she was unable to. She was pretty much trapped in this hotel during this particular instance. Then they bring it to a few years earlier here in New York City in 2004, where Capricorn Clark was forced to take a lie detector test for days on days on days after some jewelry went missing. And of course, the December of 2011, I should say, where Capricorn Clark was taken by gunpoint over to Kid Cudi's home. The government kind of pointing to those being clear instances of kidnapping too. And so if you think about that in context, that's two predicate acts right there if the jury kind of comes to that conclusion too. But there were other instances that I think they did a great job really kind of spelling out different examples of why the defendant might have been found guilty on these different kind of acts.
Yeah, no, and you're right. They only need to find two underlying predicate acts. So yes, was there a criminal conspiracy? Was there a criminal agreement? Was there a criminal enterprise? And were there two underlying predicate acts that they agreed to commit? So you laid out drug distribution, you laid out kidnapping. We didn't even get into Eddie Garcia and the hotel tape and bribery, the $100,000 that was allegedly paid to make sure that that tape never saw the light of day. And I agree with you, the argument that all of the assistants, or a majority of the assistants, or at least Christina Coram, knew what was going on and knew what was going on behind closed doors and everybody was on the same page, I think that's key. Now, you talk about the underlying predicate crimes. One of them, my understanding at least, is also an independent charge, transportation to engage in prostitution. Those are two charges that he faces, but I believe they're also part of the racketeering. So I will tell you, I think this is the strongest series of charges they have against Diddy, carries up to 10 years in prison. I thought it was important for the prosecutor to say, hey, you don't need force or fraud or coercion. They could all consent. It's still a crime. Really focusing what on, Elizabeth? The trail of money, the Amex statements, Combs' texts, his voice notes, his team arranging, right? Really putting him at the center of transporting men and Cassie and Jane for the purposes of sex work.
And to your point, Jesse, I think also the government had to really kind of explain that just because these entertainers or these escorts don't necessarily call themselves prostitutes, that these still are acts of prostitution, whether or not they're calling themselves prostitutes or sex workers or not. And so in terms of count 3 and 5, again, that being transportation to engage in prostitution, I kind of go back to the flight summary charts where the government had a whole long list in chart form of just the different flights that were taken out, the money that was spent, and who was the account holder kind of behind it either being Sean Combs or it being Jane, who would purchase entertainers' flights out. However, she would be reimbursed by Sean Combs. And so there was one particular example. It was from August 26th of 2009, where Sean Combs coordinated with Jules, and Jules notably was the escort inside the hotel room during the March 2016 incident at the Intercontinental Hotel. But just that in this particular one, going back to August of 2009, that Sean Combs was coordinating with Jules to get him to New York City. So the jury was able to see flight records that a flight was $419.61, and then it also included a limo service for $220. And there were even points where Sean Combs had texted Jules he'll tip him more if he can make it to New York City because Jules is from LA. So there we go, transporting him from Los Angeles, California, all the way to New York City. And so the government also pointing out that the defendant paid for other escorts like Clayton Howard, aka Dave, to fly him from New York City to Los Angeles. And again, showing those flight summary charts where all the records are really kind of laid out there. There were text messages, including from Sean Combs to Bridget when he was in a relationship with Jane, where he was texting Bridget from Cowboys for Angels, so no longer Garen. It was Bridget who was kind of the point of contact, where Sean Combs is saying that he didn't want one particular escort to feel tired because he was traveling from Vegas to Los Angeles, and he sent a text message saying, LOL, damn, we don't want a tired situation, feel me. And then Bridget responded, Reggie is never tired, because that was the particular entertainer or escort that they planned on flying out to Los Angeles. And then the government pointing out that Cabral was also someone that was used quite often. He's from Atlanta. However, he was flown to New York City. And so there were just different points. And I think they made a lot of a lot of strong messages that were used kind of against Sean Combs in a way, like one particular audio message that said, I want the most wild king sex room in Vegas. And then Christina Quorum had responded, will Paul be there? So again, kind of pointing to the alleged co-conspirators being in the know of who was going to be there, what type of escorts were going to be used. And of course, Paul was one that was used often, going back to Cassie's relationship with Sean Combs and to Jane's relationship. And so kind of towards the end, the government was like, even KK facilitated the travel for escorts too.
Again, I think that those are pretty straightforward, but we'll see. And let's talk about the defense now. The defense's closing argument. Okay, so this was delivered by Mark Agnifilo, the lead counsel in this case. And I will tell you one of the parts that stood out to me, really jumping on the idea. Okay, so the prosecution's agreeing not every sexual episode of Cassie or Jane is sex trafficking. Mark Agnifilo says, if we're at freak-off number 75, and 75 of them have been consensual, what would have to happen if freak-off 76 to say, now it's sex trafficking? Really focusing on that jump, right? Like, now that's a federal crime? I think that's a good point. It gives the jury pause, no? Aside from all of the text messages from the alleged victims where they express their love for Sean Combs, they stay in touch with him, they're setting up these sexual events. It does become a point, you know, we're supposed to say everything was consensual and then it's sex trafficking. Was that a standout moment to you?
Yeah, it was a lot of standout moments from the defense's closing argument, right? So, for example, Mark Agnifilo, by the way, everyone, when you're seeing him in action giving the closing argument for the defense, it's very opposite from the prosecution, where he is just really animated. He's going back and forth, walking back and forth. Sometimes there were points he was away from the microphone, so you could barely hear him. He's using poster boards. He's using paper forms of text exhibits, really kind of putting on a lot of demonstratives. But right off the bat, he was saying this trial is a tale of two trials. First trial is the witnesses, the videos, the text messages, the evidence. And the second trial is just what is being told to the jury by the prosecution. And so Mark Agnifilo saying right off the top that this case is badly exaggerated. It's made up, in other words. Those were literally the words he used. And then when he was talking about drugs, he said it's personal use drugs, nothing else. He says that the evidence shows that it's swingers and threesomes. But I think one big thing, Jesse, is that I think really from the defense's perspective, they were really kind of driving the point that, yes, Sean Combs has done bad things, right? But they say, is it sex trafficking? So, for example, really kind of pointing to that they think it's a domestic violence issue. That's really the issue, especially when it comes to count two, that being related to Cassie. But one thing I noted during his defense closing is that he brought the CNN video up, and he was kind of talking about a particular Instagram post that Cassandra Ventura Fine had made after this video was released and after she got an outpouring of support, where she had said that domestic violence is the issue. So the defense really kind of using her words against her, where they were like, okay, well, she didn't say sex trafficking was the heart of the issue. She didn't say that this was the heart of the issue. She specifically said that domestic violence is the issue. And so the defense said that Cassie could have said sex trafficking. She could have said coercion and running away from freak-offs was the issue. But Mark Agnifilo told the jury that, again, Cassie believed it to be domestic violence. And so the defense saying that they weren't going to be putting up a bunch of charts and text messages, etc. But I think we're kind of trying to drive the point too that Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs were in a loving relationship, and at points it was toxic, something that's kind of been a theme throughout their cross-examination too of particular witnesses. And then even as it came to Jane and just kind of the allegations Jane has made, the defense really kind of pointing out that Jane is still getting her rent paid for by Sean Combs, that he had kind of helped her when she was going through like a bad child support type of situation, that her child's father wasn't pulling his weight in terms of just the money that he was giving to her and their child together, and that it was Sean Combs who stepped up. He was the one who provided the roof over their head. He was the one that continues to pay for her rent, even to this day, but also for her lawyer even to this day too. And I think what also is interesting, Jesse, is in my mind, I'm wondering, does the jury kind of want to know why didn't the defense put up any type of witnesses? Because in terms of just them going back and kind of using, I guess, the witnesses' words against them in a type of way that these were all, again, government witnesses. These aren't defense witnesses or anything like that, because as we know, the defense didn't put up any witnesses. So I wonder, does that kind of go through their head as they're listening to all of this? Because it really was kind of going back and forth between mainly Cassie and Jane for the most part.
It might. On the other hand, they could say, no, the defense thoroughly cross-examined these witnesses, confronted them about problematic texts and Instagram posts or social media posts and alleged actions and staying with him. I mean, they really focused on the idea that these alleged victims could leave, and they eventually did leave, and then nothing happened to them. That's what, the defense's argument. So they might say, The defense said this is all about money. They were all out for something. They were never sex trafficked victims. It'll be curious to see what the jury thinks. And, the defense has said this is all about domestic violence. It's about love. It's about jealousy. It's not a federal crime. Real quick, because I know you have to jump in, I want to ask you a couple more things. So 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 also hit upon, I think, one of the arguably weaker points of the case, right? Racketeering conspiracy. He was saying what? That Sean Combs is the only one charged here. There was no one testified that was part of a criminal enterprise. There's no evidence anyone that was a co-conspirator, including Christina Quorum, his former chief of staff. Did you feel that that was a key moment, really striking at the heart of racketeering conspiracy? There's no criminal agreement. There's no criminal enterprise?
Right. I think it definitely is, because even Mark 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗦 was saying things along the lines of, other celebrities, they use their assistants to go get them stuff. They're not celebrities who just walk into CVS. In terms of the security, even the security all has firearms because they are security guards. They're professional guards. They have the license to carry, all of those things. And even just kind of bringing back just the HSI raids where Mark 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗦 is kind of like, well, the guns just miraculously were all just, they were all brought out. No one knew where they came from. They could have been under the children's bed. All of that stuff. But in terms of just the RICO conspiracy and some of the alleged co-conspirators, Mark 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗦 said that everyone needs a 𝐘𝐿, that 𝐘𝐿 was somebody who was always Sean Combs' right-handed woman, that type of thing. And I will say, when Mark 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗦 said that everyone needs a 𝐘𝐿, I did see Sean Combs over at the defense table kind of nodding his head along. But Mark 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗦 saying that he's not charged with racketeering, but racketeering conspiracy. And he points out that the government never called a co-conspirator to the witness stand. So the defense kind of even pointing out the particular incident with Cassie and Carrie Morgan, both who had testified during this trial, but about the hammer incident where Sean Combs had allegedly come over to, I believe it was either Cassie's apartment with a hammer, and that he was kind of threatening her. But the defense was pointing out that during this time, Cassie and Carrie Morgan, they didn't call police to turn in Sean Combs. What they ended up doing was calling Christina Quorum and D-Rock. And then Mark 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗦 said, did anyone say that 𝐘𝐿 or D-Rock was a co-conspirator? He said that the government is making it sinister, that he has personal security, and says that 𝗟𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗦 also pointed out that Sean Combs isn't charged with firearms, just as an outright charge. And so in terms of just but even in terms of just Cassie's allegation, where she said she was made to carry firearms for Sean Combs, Mark 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗦 pointed out it was a security guard who actually gave Cassie Ventura the firearm that she had to go into, I guess, the club with, that type of thing. So really kind of saying that this isn't an enterprise, that this isn't a criminal enterprise, I should say, but that these are just people who are working for Sean Combs, who's a high-powered celebrity, that he wants his privacy, that he wants his personal time, and he should be entitled to that because this isn't a criminal act.
Raising reasonable doubt. That's what they were trying to do, and we're kind of summarizing and condensing it here. And real quick, the prosecution had a rebuttal delivered by the prosecutor, Maureen Comey, in this case, the lead prosecutor, I believe. And remember, it makes sense because this is the prosecution's case. They have to prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. It makes sense that they get the last word. Real quick, Elizabeth, these are the things that stood out to me. One, where she highlighted, so the defense's theory is that Cassie wanted to be urinated on, that Jane wanted to have sex with a man after being beaten, that Mia wanted to be sexually assaulted, that Cassie and Jane wanted to spend days in oil with UTIs and high heels. They were strange men, basically saying 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗦 was tossing up excuse after excuse. And also there was this other part where they basically say that these women didn't have any financial incentive to testify, right? So the idea is Cassie had already settled her lawsuit. So what is she's risking? Perjury in a federal trial? Mia had already settled in mediation. There's no reason for them to come forward and put on what I think she said was a show for you. Those were the two biggest points in rebuttal to me. I know you have to jump out real quick, but if you wanted 30 seconds just to respond.
Yeah, of course. And so from the prosecution rebuttal, even things like Maureen Comey saying the defense put a whole lot of energy into blaming the victims and the United States government, and pretty much kind of bringing home the point that in Sean Combs' world, he couldn't take no for an answer. So really, even at the end, Jesse, where Maureen Comey is like, the defendant thinks that he's above the law. He beat Cassie. He raped Mia. He bribed security to cover it up. In his mind, he thought he was untouchable. Who stands up to a god? He didn't think that the women would even stand stand up to him. And so even 𝗟𝗡𝗞, I think her final words were saying that the defendant is not a god, he's a person, he stands equal in the law, find him guilty. So I really think kind of driving home those points of just different instances in terms of payment for sex, racketeering conspiracy, the kidnapping of Capricorn Clark in 2011, the points of Cassie, Mia, Jane, Kid Cudi, I think really kind of bringing home those points. And to your point also, Jesse, about the prosecution saying that the victims don't have anything at stake anymore, that Cassie did get her settlement, that Mia did settle years prior to this, and that Jane has no intention on filing a lawsuit, that she doesn't even have a lawsuit kind of, filed at this point anyway either. And so I think the prosecution, especially since they had the final word and the final message to the jury, was really kind of bringing back maybe any seeds of doubt that the jury may have had after listening to the defense's closing argument, and really trying to kind of prove their case in that final message, so that way the government can say that he is guilty on all of the charges.
All right, we'll see. It's going to be in the jury's hands. Elizabeth Milner, thank you so much for the great reporting as always. And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
That's a real good point, man. It's a real good. It's a great point. So far, the only person they got is Diddy. Is a Rico? Where's the organization? You just got Diddy. You ain't even got KK. What the heck is y'all doing? I thought they was gonna call Oprah. I thought they was going to get Ellen DeGeneres back up in here. I thought they was going to get all these people, man. What happened to Usher? Why Justin ain't take the stand? Ali Carter. All these people, man, they started narrowing this whole thing down. They narrowed it down too deep, too far. It's narrowed down. But I still think they got their case. They ain't want to throw too much cherries and all that type of stuff on it. I don't know, man. It's sometimes I think they found him guilty on two different things. I already think that. One of them, I'm going by Sidebar and Tisa Tales, Nancy Grace. I'm thinking these people know more than I do, and they talking about this drug, distributing drugs. Don't have to be no money. He wasn't selling them. He was giving them away. That's guilty. You can't do that. I ain't know that. But now I know it. So long story short, I'm going to get on up out of here. Hey, y'all take it light, take it slow. Y'all tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. Oh, my goodness. I am hungry. My food is cold. I'm going to go upstairs and cry. All right, y'all. Wait a minute. Let's do this. How many we do? I thought we was going to do about 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. We did 4. We ain't do too bad. I thought it was 3 we did. We did 4. I'm going to play this. I got to play this song again. Four more today. Let's see if we cut this out. Yeah. Cassandra, what's up, gal? What's up? I gotta bring this. I'm gonna bring the. My goodness, I done grabbed the wrong thing. Hold up, y'all. Hold up. I clicked on the wrong one that time. I'm going to upload this song, and oh man, I'm hoping that this thing does right. It should do right. I gotta drop it again, but I gotta hear it to make sure it's right before I drop it again. All right, this is the song. Made a minute, man. Made a minute. Yep, it should. Please play right, Lord. Close. Okay, let's do a save. Whatever. Cassandra, I did 3 songs, and I think all 3 of them are hits. I think they hits. I did the best I could, except for the vocals. I don't like the vocals. I don't never like my vocals, man. Here we go. Let's see what we got. Let me see if we got the. Is the master on? No, think the master was on. Yeah, nope, the master wasn't on. It's on now. Maybe I took it off because it was. I think I'm gonna try to go with the master on. So I got to go through actually, on second thought, oh man, I don't even know which. All right, let's see if this is gonna play. Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah. 1, 2. It was all a dream. This one goes out to everybody who suffered and made it through. It was all a dream. Whoa. I had a dream, Diddy walk free. Now everybody hiding what they said on IG. But I ain't run, I ain't changed my place. I looked that man right dead in his face. So what you did to that girl, disgrace. You got money, power, but you blew your place. We grinding down here just to see 1 meal. And you got heaven, but act like hell's real. Yeah, I had a dream. Courtroom full of tears. The verdict came down and the man got cleared. All the headlines faded like they never cared. And all the folks that spoke up, they disappeared. But still, private accounts, deleted posts. Even bloggers went ghost like they seen a ghost. But not me, I stood up, heart full of fear. I told them face to face, you can't lie here. That girl was crying, we all seen the tape. And you apologized like that would fix the hate. You had it all, jets, fame, God's grace. But you played it like a game and spit in his face. I had a dream, Diddy walk free. Now everybody hiding what they said on IG. But I ain't run, I ain't changed my place. I looked that man right dead in his face. So what you did to that girl, disgrace. You got money, power, but you blew your place. We grinding down here just to see 1 meal. And you got heaven, but act like hell's real. Yeah, you got daughters, you got sons. What they gonna say when they learn what you did? Will they look away? We pray for baby love, but what about the rest? All this dirt, you left it on your family chest. You claimed you adopted her, gave the girl a home, but where she at now? Man, she all alone. Meanwhile, rumors fly and bodies burn and cars blow up while the world just turn. Pac and Biggie, the streets still blame. You say you innocent, but you carry that flame. And what the court say? You're good, you're clear. We the court of the people and we all right here. I had a dream, Diddy walk free. Now everybody hiding what they said on IG. But I ain't run, I ain't changed my place. I looked that man right dead in his face. So what you did to that girl, disgrace. You got money, power, but you blew your place. We grinding down here just to see 1 meal. And you got heaven, but act like hell's real.
All right. That's what. This the remix, y'all. That's what I'm working on next. Baby, 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 baby. That's what I'm hearing. I'm trying to get something to go. Baby, 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 baby. Let's see what we got.
I had a dream, Diddy walk free. Now everybody hiding what they said on IG. But I ain't run, I ain't changed my pace. I looked that man right dead in his face.
Oh man, okay, I don't want to hear that. Let's go with this. That's the remix, y'all. That's the remix. That's the remix I'm about to do. I don't know. I wasn't feeling all of this, I don't think. So I decided to do a remix. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little bit more. Give me a little bit. Right there. I don't even like that now. Let me see something.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Y'all gonna kill me, y'all. Let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah. 1, 2. Oh, but you blew your place. We grinding down here just to see 1 meal. And you got heaven, but act like hell's real.
All right, I gotta bounce it MP3. I mean, not MP3. In fact, we're gonna bounce both of them. All right, what is it? Face to face. Oh shoot! There should be a way. Place existing. Did that? Let me see something. Then I'm going to bed. Yeah. Oh, I can't see y'all with this on. Maybe. Oh, okay. Valerie, look at Valerie. Hey, Uncle Mike in the chat. Cassandra, what's going on? Long time no see. Yeah, this is I'm uploading this song. I'm going to put it on Spotify and stuff. I'm like, okay, they want to do a song, so we're going to do a song.
Yeah.
That thing, hey man, that thing go, Valerie. Valerie, did you hear it? That thing go a little bit, boy. Oh my gracious. All right, wait a minute. Let me get back to what I was doing. All right, we're going. I had a WAV MP3 file, and it was telling me I need to do a WAV file of it. And I got a WAV file of the other one. Did you hear the whole thing, Valerie, or what you think? You might have came in on the middle of it. All right, so I'm uploading both of these. No. 99. What? The heck? You need one performer, background vocals. Oh man. What? Producer. Oh my God. Nah, man, we want this one. Oh man. Wait, I don't don't see Apple Music. It should be in alphabetical order. Oh, I see it. All right, let's go. We ain't on Apple Music, y'all. Oh, shucks. My bad, y'all. Damn, that joint still ain't go. I gotta see some stuff. I just came in, play it again. All right, check this out. Check this out. Hey, yeah, yeah. Yeah. 1, 2. It was all a dream. This one goes out to everybody who suffered and made it through. It was all a dream. I had a dream, Diddy walk free. Now everybody hiding what they said on IG. But I ain't run, I ain't changed my place. I looked that man right dead in his face. So what you did to that girl, disgrace. You got money, power, but you blew your place. We grinding down here just to see 1 meal. And you got heaven, but act like hell's real. Yeah, I had a dream. Courtroom full of tears. The verdict came down and the man got cleared. All the headlines faded like they never cared. And all them folks that spoke up, they disappeared. But still, private accounts, deleted posts. Even bloggers went ghost like they seen a ghost. But not me, I stood up, heart full of fear. I told them face to face, you can't lie here. That girl was crying, we all seen the tape. And you apologized like that would fix the hate. You had it all, jets, fame, God's grace. But you played it like a game and spit in his face. I had a dream, Diddy walk free. Now everybody hiding what they said on IG. But I ain't run, I ain't changed my place. I looked that man right dead in his face. So what you did to that girl, disgrace. You got money, power, but you blew your place. We grinding down here just to see 1 meal. And you got heaven, but act like hell's real. Yeah, you got daughters, you got sons. What they gonna say when they learn what you did? Will they look away? We pray for baby love, but what about the rest? All this dirt, you left it on your family chest. You claimed you adopt her, gave the girl a home, but where she at now? Man, she all alone. Meanwhile, rumors fly and bodies burn and cars blow up while the world just turn. Pac and Biggie, the streets still blame. You say you innocent, but you carry that flame. And what the court say? You're good, you're clear. We the court of the people and we all right here. I had a dream, Diddy walk free. Now everybody hiding what they said on IG. But I ain't run, I ain't changed my place. I looked that man right dead in his face. So what you did to that girl, disgrace. You got money, power, but you blew your place. We grinding down here just to see 1 meal. And you got heaven, but act like hell's real. I was dropping it, so it's gonna keep playing. Okay, we done with this. Now, you wanna hear the other one? What you think, Valerie? Miss Valerie, say yes. Cassandra, yeah. I wrote one about the puffy kids, man. This one right here make me almost cry. Every time I play this joint, make me almost cry. Platinum. I'm hoping, man. I'm putting it on Spotify. I'm putting it out. I'm putting both of these. As we speak, I'm putting both of these on DistroKid. And they supposed to distribute them and all that stuff. Hey, yeah.
I thought I'd just send this one out to Diddy's kids. It's Uncle Mike, y'all. Yeah. Look, hey, they say the apple don't fall far from the tree. Then the sun's in the light where the cameras be. Puff built an empire off of hustle and fame. Now the boys in the court trying to clear their name. Media buzzing, got the headlines lit. Talking about charges, but the facts don't fit. A legacy's great, ain't easy to bend. When your father's a mogul, they all stop and stare. Now he's standing in the courtroom, pressure so wild. With the world on his shoulder, legacy on trial. He ain't asked for the fame or the flashing lens. Just trying to live life, not make amends. Now he's standing in the courtroom, pressure so wild. With the world on his shoulder, legacy on trial. They ain't asked for the fame or the flashing lens. Just trying to live life, not make amends. They see Diddy in his eyes, so the judgment's fast. But the son ain't the sin of his father's past. Every move they make, they dissect with spite. Forget he's still young, trying to find what's right. Whispers in the crowd, they talk like they know, but ain't been in the shoes or walked through the snow. Social media courtroom is useless feed. Facts take a back seat when clicks gonna lead. Now he's standing in the courtroom, pressure so wild. With the world on his shoulder, legacy on trial. He ain't asked for the fame or the flashing lens. Just trying to live life, not make amends. Now he's standing in the courtroom, pressure so wild. With the world on his shoulder, legacy on trial. He ain't asked for the fame or the flashing lens. Just trying to live life, not make amends. The truth's gonna rise and the lies don't win. But karma got a timing and it don't pretend. If you're guilty, let justice take control. If he innocent, let him walk out whole. So before you throw shade or feed that flame, remember every man got his own damn name. Not just the son of a star or a hip-hop king. He's a man with a voice, let the gavel ring. Let's rap. Just in case they thought I ain't know what I was doing up in here. Excellent. Like it already. Appreciate it, man. I'm hoping y'all run them spins up. I'm putting it on Spotify and all that stuff. And dang, man, this thing is not doing half the stuff it's supposed to do. It said complete. Oh my God. It keep telling me I'm doing something wrong. It's so much stuff to fill out. And oh, there we go. Artist already in Spotify. No. Apple Music. No. That Apple Music. Bam. Let's go back to no. Oh, no. Good. God, dog it, I saw another one. Artist already in YouTube Music. No. Oh, come on, you son of a. Good. Oh, sucks. Please go through. I did that. Instagram and Facebook URL. Oh, I had that for. Oh my God. All right. Last two, y'all. Then I'm going to bed. Instagram. No. Facebook.
should I? Let's see if this thing gonna take. It's Uncle Mike, y'all. We dealing with my age, our age anyway. Let's see if it's gonna like that. Okay. How you gonna tell me? Bam. Oh, shucks. Oh, shucks. Oh, shucks. We got 2 tracks up. Yeah. Since y'all here, God, oh, shucks. It's doing its thing, baby. Honey, if they like my music, we might go viral. We might go viral, y'all. We might end up going viral. Oh, shucks. Okay, Valerie, I'm gonna play the last song since I'm ready to go to bed, and I've been doing all kinds of when you're doing music, you do your music. I've been working on a song for the last 2 days. Give it a break. Come back and listen. We tweak some things. You come back and listen, and I think that we could take one more listen before we go to bed. Now, we did a song for Puffy. We did a song for Puffy Kids. And then we did a song for my haters. You know, I couldn't leave out my haters, baby. Uh-oh, now what we got to do? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute, y'all. I can play this. Why this is for the haters. Did we? Let's see. Let's make sure. Let's make sure everything is right for Valerie. You know, we don't want to have nothing wrong. Yeah. Nah, homie. Watch this, Val. You ready, Val? Watch this, girl. Watch this. You and Cassandra. Give it to him, Uncle Mike. Yeah. It's so good to catch you live. Bring back fun emotions. Yeah. Cassandra, check this out. I'm hoping, y'all need to help these songs go viral, boy, because if Uncle Mike got some money in his pocket, I would love to bless y'all for real. For real, man. I don't know how this is going to work, but it's going to work. Here we go. Watch this, y'all. This for the haters. I forgot how the song go, so I need to hear it anyway. Oh. They hate cause they can't create, only imitate. They watch from the bleachers while you levitate and smile in your face, but deep down it's venom. In every L they pray, but deep down you win them. Say what? Now check it. Now you got them pacing in their mama's crib. Imagine moving smart while they barely live. It's easier to talk than it is to grind. So they type in all caps trying to block your shine. They hate what they can't touch, can't control. You the glitch in their system, breaking all the mode. You moving chess, they still stuck in checkers. Wasting all their energy just being crazy hecklers. Don't tell a hater what you about to do. Just pull up clean like a sky and view. Whole plan, stitch, product finish tight. Let them see you glow without dimming your light. Put it in their face, but don't even speak. Let your moves talk louder while moving your feet.
Drop your heat on the platform where they screw. Let them watch your wins while you reach your goal.
Don't fight them out, write them out, work them in silence. Let success be the storm, not the silence. Stay on track, don't fold to the noise. Use hate like a beat, now go flex with noise. Can't show, they can only speak, they can only hope, cause their actions weak, they know it's weak, so they lie on your name, try to dim your spark, cause they lack your flame. Don't give them power, they don't have skill, that's wasted energy that you can use to build. Listen to God, let his plans unfold, then the problem solved and the truth get told. This ain't mixed, I hear a lot of mistakes, it sound different. Sound like I shouldn't have let y'all hear it.
when you're releasing, please send it to the Discord so I can hear the full thing. Show you right. Oh! Let's go! Oh! Here we go now. Yeah, that effect that's going back is gonna yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Val. That's 3. Then I got this is I don't know if I'm gonna put this on there also. What y'all think about this one? I need y'all help on this one right here for real. I think I'm gonna add this on there too. This is that'll be 4. It's gonna be a 5-song CD for $5.99. Show love and support, that type of thing, you know. Finally got something y'all can help support the channel with, just buying it or whatever, listening to it on the spin or whatever. Yeah. Check this out right here. This is a short one right here, I think. Check this out.
Yo, check it. It's the story of Mike Cross. So listen close. Started with the fam. Christmas time never froze. Brother CC on the drums, dad group in the bass. Mom singing with a drumstick had a special place. See, I grabbed the car, couldn't play it that well, but with record spinning, man, we cast the spell. From that moment on, music had my soul gripped. Rap music hit me hard. Sugar Hill Gang flipped. Now I'm in the game, no time to retreat. From the family jam to my own beat. Studio's my kingdom where I reign supreme, making head nods, living the dream. I started from the bottom, now I'm climbing high, learning every instrument, reaching for the sky. Guitar, keys, I'm mastering the whole scene, craft the hits, living the music dream. From small gigs to big stages, yes, I'm on the rise. Every beat I drop is a sweet surprise. But what's next? I'm hungry for more. From a kid with a dream to the one day adore. Pushing boundaries, breaking through the noise. From the basement to the top, I'm making my choice. Music is my life, the ultimate devotion. For Christmas with the fam, the worldwide promotion. Now I'm in the game, no time to retreat. From the family jam to my own beat. Studio's my kingdom where I reign supreme, making head nods, living the dream. Now I'm in the game, no time to retreat. From the family jam to my own beat. Studio's my kingdom where I reign supreme, making head nods, living the dream. Studio's my kingdom where I reign supreme, making head nods, living the dream.
My bad, my bad, my bad, y'all. My bad. I did that one a long time ago. In fact, I recorded the vocals at work, but yeah, the Sun one, I let a couple of my friends hear. They was like, "That's good, man. That's real good. I see you back." And I was like, "Dang, I ain't gonna be able to do nothing after that." And then the one with the Diddy kids, it's 2 more songs I did. I just couldn't get them. I wasn't feeling them. I couldn't. They didn't. You know. Every time you come up the bat, you ain't gonna hit a home run. sometimes you might even get on base. You know what I'm saying? So every song you do in the studio ain't gonna be a hit. If you're lucky if you can do a hit a year. Oh man, you the man. You the man if you can do a hit a year. Everything you touch ain't gonna be a hit. So I got 3 that I think the haters, and I try to I'm trying to do worldly type stuff. Everybody got haters, football, basketball, whatever. They got people that hate. It's like a conflict thing. So I'm hoping that flies. The Diddy trial, of course. And then I said, man, I got to put this out because Diddy's sons is doing stuff. They're gonna hear this. Enhanced original. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That snare hitting too hard.
I thought I'd just send this one out to Diddy's kids. It's Uncle Mike, y'all. Yeah.
I don't want them enhanced. No, use the original. Damn, they want about. God damn, they want. Hooray! Your music is done, y'all. Hey, I was just playing it. We're processing your album. Uploading more music. No, not yet. Hey, baby. My baby on the phone, y'all. Anyway, I put them 2 songs up, man. I'm hoping, dude. Suppose them joints go viral. If they go viral and they see, Spotify or YouTube Music and all that stuff start paying me $50,000 a month, shoot, we're gonna take that trip we were talking about. Yeah, we is. We're gonna all meet up somewhere and take a trip somewhere and tell some scary movies. It was a long, gloomy night. Blue. Yeah. Then we can really help them find these kids, baby. What? Anyway, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. I'm going to bed. Peace out. Thank y'all, man. Appreciate it. God damn, we playing these songs, man. Peace.